Throw gang, it would appear as if one of the best collabs of the year just splashed down on our desk from the number one name in grooming, Blind Barber, and the number one name in doing the do, Mountain Dew, comes two bold body sprays unlike anything the fragrance world has ever seen. Introducing the Beach Bound body spray set. These might actually explode Jeremy Fragrance's greasy dome once he gets a whiff. Fingers crossed.
Inspired by the iconic flavors of Baja Blast and Baja Cabo Citrus, this once-in-a-lifetime olfactory experience unites Blind Barber's signature scentsmanship with the iconic tropical essence you know and love, expanding the Baja-verse into a new uncharted realm once unknown to space and time, where grooming meets flavor and spring break meets your nostrils.
It's like cracking a can of delicious soda open on your skin. The exclusive Beach-Bound bundle is being sold Wednesday, April 16th at 12 p.m. ET and features the Mountain Dew and Mountain Dew Baja Blast 12-ounce 18-pack variety pack along with the Beach-Bound body spray set exclusively on the Mountain Dew TikTok shop.
Steph, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Throw gang, we are joined by the byline boss bitch, the copy queen, the magazine mother. She puts the tour in editorial. She's penning these bars so the kids need ID. Must be a Mexican maestro how she's composing these essays. The CDG MVP. The fit is all black, but call her Bonnie Blue how she's covered in comb. Your schlong forlorn and micro, her long form goes psycho. Your shit takes clickbait, her Rick intake slakes you thirsty trick fakes. Oh, you're not fucking with ID? How about you deep throat these nuts? Don't get it twisted with her bread, babka. She's getting dough and cheese with her sauce, pasta. She's frying your potatoes and got him sour batter cream, vodka. She's burning through that Kushner green, Rasta. Every article she drops is flames, waka flocka. Stop drinking martinis with weenies and drink vodka with a Yotka. Global editorial director of ID Magazine, Steff Yotka. Steff, how the hell are you?
I'm so glad you got babka in there.
Oh, yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, that was great.
Thanks.
How far in advance do you start writing those?
When did I write this? Wednesday?
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming in close to the deadline.
I was going to say, is that
All right.
sufficient for your editor ass?
Yeah, what do you think? What, any notes from the editor?
No, I loved it. You mentioned all my favorite foods: babka, pasta, vodka.
Vodka. Yeah.
Latkes, yeah.
Yeah.
Steph, thank you for coming on the only podcast that matters.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Great to see you, Steph. Real quick, before we dive in, let's get through a fit check. You're wearing a lot of garments, so I want to give us sufficient time up top.
Okay.
Where to begin?
I have
You have so much clothes on.
What? How many?
This is like
How many?
a chronic problem for me because I just love stuff.
Mm.
So I just keep layering and layering, but it doesn't take me long to get dressed. But I'm just like, oh, a little pin, a little.
How many
whatever.
articles of clothing are you wearing on any average day? Like not a hot day, not a cold day, just like a regular day. Like today, it's 45 degrees.
Triple digits.
Maybe. At least double.
Usually I have like at least like minimum 2 shirts on, like a t-shirt and a flannel.
2 shirts?
Steve Bannon mode.
Yeah, totally. Muse. Or like a long sleeve shirt under a t-shirt.
Okay.
Or blazer.
Grungy.
Oh, nice little mall rat look.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
I love a skirt over pant. That's what I've got going on today.
Well,
so yeah,
tell us the brands.
Okay, I've got Louis Vuitton shoes.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Copped them on the RealReal. Thank you, the RealReal.
Why did you thank them? You had to pay for them.
I know. But I thank them because I'm addicted to it. Like if it didn't exist, I would have so much time to do other things.
So I've only perused menswear on the RealReal. On the women's wear side, which I'm sure is like 10x the menswear side, is there just a single mannequin that is just the hardest working inanimate object in fashion?
Yeah.
They don't?
They don't really have heads unless you're looking at sunglasses or like jewelry.
But
But
jewelry's
it's
all
just-
AI though.
Yeah, exactly.
The jewelry is just copied and
it's just
photoshopped
copied,
onto a
pasted
wrist.
on. Yeah. So no, there's probably one mannequin form that's like just ran through.
Damn. That is
Shout out Ken, dude.
Yeah. The real, yeah. Okay. What about the socks?
Like Dwayne Reed.
Nice.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Is that like a little hack buying your undergarments at Dwayne Reed? Because I know they have that stuff. Like
just the socks. I'm like the amount of times I lose a sock and then have one that doesn't have the pair. It's just not
Gotcha.
like I'm like I need like
It's
the
cruel.
low cost solution.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
To socks.
That makes sense.
What about the pants set?
6397 pants.
What?
It's like a what?
Is that Fetty Wap's new area code?
That's so many pants.
It's a brand owned by The News, which is like a showroom that repped like Noah and a lot of other brands. And so it's like their in-house brand. Stella Ishii, the founder, was like the salesperson for Margiela and Comme des Garçons. So it's like, but like pretty classic, like a lot of barn jackets and flannels, simple pants.
The news used to rep, I believe, Common Projects, which is how I know them when that shit was hot in the streets.
Yeah, for sure. At the sample sale, it was like the Common Projects section was like half of it. And then it was like, and all the other brands.
Catnip for dudes. You know, for sure.
Yeah. Continuing on.
Chipovalo and a skirt.
How many skirts are you wearing right now?
Just one.
Oh.
It's attached.
It looks like 3 or 4.
It's multiple fabrics. Layered.
So it's one skirt, but it's really 4 skirts.
Basically.
Yeah. Then this vintage belt, a vintage
That's
t-shirt,
a crazy fucking skirt.
And vintage, It's
looks like a shower curtain.
It's got carabiners.
It's this is like a vintage textile from Bulgaria, and then there's like ripstop here, and all these carabiners, which is great if you're going out because you can just hook your keys or whatever.
Oh, totally.
And then you shove the phone in the waistband, and you don't need a purse.
Easy.
Look at that. She's going mobile, dude.
I'm problem solving with all these layers. There's a reason that they exist. Vintage shirt, vintage flannel, vaquera jacket.
The tea?
Vintage tea.
Oh, are you a Packers fan? Or?
I am.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you own a part?
I do.
Really?
I'm an owner.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And they send you a little ballot every summer to vote for things. It's always like, what hot dog should we sell? The thing. Or like, should we add like better cushions to like section 312?
Power to the people.
Yeah, it's all the cheeseheads have to live for, right?
Yeah.
Like just voting on hot dogs that they're going to eat.
And losing in the playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about your accessories over there?
Loewe bag.
Nice.
Capital scarf.
Capital.
Yeah. And then just a bunch of jewelry.
Is there like one jewelry brand that you really lean towards, or is it just a little bit of everything? Because you got a lot of shit.
I have a lot on. A lot of my jewelry is like vintage, like almost all of it, or like things that my mom gave me, things that friends have given me. I think I purchase a lot of Kiko Kostadanov jewelry because it's very like geometric and it matches with these vintage earrings. So
that's how you pronounce it. His last name.
That's how I pronounce it.
I just say Kiko because I don't want to embarrass myself. Kostadanov. Okay.
What's the alternative?
I don't know. Kiko K.
Kiko.
Okay.
Keep just saying Kiko, right? Because there's not. Is there any other Kiko? You know,
no, it's Kiko.
Kostadanov.
You're definitely wearing, I would venture to guess, double digits pieces of clothing and accessories. Oh, bra and panties
for sure.
Skims.
Hell, we love Skims on this show.
Same.
And you're sipping on a Topo Chico. Okay, Steff, thank you for coming onto the podcast. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. You were just in Miami, right? You flew back last night. For the opening of the Supreme store. Give us the scene report real quick.
It was so fun. I'd never really been to Miami before. I went in 2014 when Loewe opened the store. It was like the first press thing that like Jonathan Anderson did as creative director. And we went to Miami. Very different vibe.
Loewe to Supreme?
Different energies.
Yeah, for sure.
It was great to be there.
No one kicked a dog at the Supreme opening?
No comment.
Correct answer.
I'm like too stunned to speak.
Were you wearing 10 articles of clothing in Miami?
So this is like the problem is like hot weather. Even though I love the summer, I love going to the beach, and the style like don't really match.
The layering doesn't jive.
I was still wearing like multiple layers, but you have to be like really strategic with like.
But that's a business trip. You're not on vacation, you know?
Right. Like I dress different on vacation. Like,
I don't know. Do you? I guess not.
Not really. I still had like t-shirt under spaghetti strap dress,
Were you dying in the humidity and heat?
Kind of, but it wasn't that hot the past couple of days. And you have to like look cool at the Supreme store opening.
Have to. So was everyone just out there looking really cool?
People were dressed really cool. Like all throughout, they hosted a screening of like a new skate film.
Headbanger by Bill Strobeck.
By Bill Strobeck, exactly, starring Zion F's at a drive-in, which was amazing because it was like sitting in a parking lot with all your friends who would like keep going to the bodega and buying some more beer. I had a buzz ball, which I haven't had in like 5 years.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Have you seen
the giant one?
The giant one by LeVar, by the Ball family.
That one could kill you.
Yeah, instant diabetes. That's how he lost his foot.
I don't really know who we're talking about.
You don't know who LeVar. You don't.
No, but I'm like, okay.
Who is like the Supreme fanboy in 2025? Because obviously Supreme hit its like hype beast peak. Let's call it 10 years ago, 5-10 years ago. We kind of believe that Supreme is so back, mainly because the losers have moved on. But like, who was down there just standing out besides all like the friends and family of the brand?
The crew.
I mean, it really is other skaters like respect Supreme. And it's like, that was like who I met there was like skaters and their girlfriends, photographers, artists, like
Not a bed frame in sight.
phone charging on a cinder block.
Right.
Yeah, it was honestly like such a nice environment of chill, cool, nice, fun people. So I had like a great time. People kept telling this story about when I broke my elbow skateboarding, which is really embarrassing. I'm not going to tell in this podcast, but I was like, you can't, it's like like they're all so good.
Right.
And I'm so bad and I have given up skateboarding since. So it's like,
When were you skating?
Please don't tell, like in like the 2010s.
Whoa,
and it was
really?
literally,
That's
it was
pretty
not
recent.
for a long, I was too old to be
Right.
like learning how to skateboard. And then I was too old to be getting injured skateboarding.
Got it.
You broke your elbow?
That's
pretty
crazy.
you weren't padded up? Looking like a loser?
You didn't wear elbow pads or wrist guards?
No, and like a little helmet.
Yeah.
No, I just thought like I wanted to seem cool. Like everybody who starts skateboarding, you want to seem cool.
Oh, God punished you for being a poser.
Yeah, exactly.
It's happened to us all.
Yeah. And so now I
Get in
just
line.
like respect it from afar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The sport and culture can have fans.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone has to jump into the arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was really cool to meet
Coaches
Zion.
don't play, you know?
Yeah. Who's like 16.
And his younger brother was there
And
too,
his
Jax,
younger
right?
brother
Yeah.
is like 10 and he's so amazing. And people were giving him money as he was skating the bowl and he was walking around with like $200
money fan?
spread
Hell
up
yeah.
his arm. I was
money
like,
spread, dude.
Yeah, I was
Fuck
like,
yeah.
good for you,
It's a
kid.
talented family and a good looking family
Yeah,
too. Mhm.
exactly.
You get your hands on a Max B t-shirt?
No.
Were you like, you weren't shopping?
I mean, there was cool stuff in the store. It wasn't open for shopping when they had like the welcome sort of.
Because isn't there like they release a new box logo with every store? And,
Yeah,
like, you
I
can
got
resell
that one.
Oh,
Yes, at the party,
Well,
which
your
was
kids
at
are going to college. I'll tell you that.
exactly at Space, which is like this big club in Miami.
Mhm.
I was standing outside waiting to get in the car to go back to my hotel, and I was holding the bag, the Supreme bag, and a guy pulled up in like a murdered out Honda and was like, "How much for the t-shirt?" And I was like, "What?"
Well, they're only going on a double XL is going for $250 on StockX.
Yeah, it's
or
just pretty
small.
cheap.
Yeah.
Maybe Supreme is not back.
Well,
I mean, Supreme is cool. I love
Well,
Supreme.
it's only
StockX
like
shoppers.
2 days
StockX
later.
shoppers.
Yeah, but that's usually when it would be
Oh,
like
that's
people
when it
fiending.
pops
I
off.
need it now.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That's,
I'm gonna hold on to
You
it.
should.
And
You didn't sell to the guy who pulled
no.
up?
I was like, I at least need
Nissan
to make
Altima?
it back to New York
Right.
with the
Right.
t-shirt before I.
All right, Steff, global editorial director, super fancy sounding job. What do you actually do? Besides just go hang out with the skater boys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking sick.
So I'm
Jealous.
sort of responsible for all of like the editorial tone and vision of ID.
Okay.
So like anywhere you see text, that filters up to me. Anywhere you see pictures, like it's all sort of part of my purview. And obviously I have a great team of people who are like pitching and editing and photographing and, you know, making video content and working on the newsletter. But I'm sort of like the deputy boss under Tom, who's the EIC.
How's that possible? How do you have the time? Like, how in the weeds are you? Or is it just kind of broad vibes?
You have to do both. I think like a good editor and a good leader is both granular and like reading all the Instagram captions, making sure all the
shit.
apostrophes are curly. Like that was like a real sticking point when I was at Vogue, was like the difference between the straight apostrophe and the curly or the
fuck is up
quote
with that?
marks.
How do you? Okay.
It's just like now I can't not see it.
Oxford comma. Yes
yeah.
or no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Oxford comma. Always.
I'm Team Vampire Weekend. Who gives a fuck about an Oxford comma?
Okay. Apostrophe S on a word that ends with an S. Like James's.
Oh, yeah. This is a good one.
I like just apostrophe.
Thank you.
It's cleaner, but
Cleaner, but
I like the S. Why can't I have
It's
the
so
S?
superfluous.
You
Why can't I have
S.
I want the extra
your
S.
name just you're never getting it. James Harris. It's like
I want it.
Yeah, you're
Want it so bad.
you're approaching this too personally. You gotta.
Yeah.
It's
not
not
about
personal.
you.
It's business.
That's
bro.
why I'll never make it as a global editorial director.
Wait. So are you micromanaging low key?
I don't want to micromanage. I think like the best thing you can do is kind of like set the vibe for your team,
Mhm.
Yeah.
explain the vision, you know, create kind of like a Candyland roadmap as to how they can move about ideas and work with each other and cut across different places and then kind of get out of the way and keep like a watchful eye over what kind of stuff is happening. We check in, like, because our team is global, like half of the team is in London and half of the team is in New York. We're checking in with each other constantly. So like the Slack is like verdant.
Nice word.
But I try not to like get in people's business. I want to help set you on the right path.
So not lead by example, but like.
Well, I'm also like writing my own stories or editing my own
undercover
things.
Girl bossing.
Yeah, undercover girl bossing, making the website and the magazine and the Instagram. So like, you know, I think any good journalist, reporter, editor, writer, photographer, social media person, like you should be looking at what your peers are doing, but also at what like your leaders are doing. You know, like I look at what other editorial directors do. I look at what EICs do. I look at how Tom writes a story and I'll be like, okay, these are the things that seem important to him. And he's never said it to me like, you need to have da 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 da. But you know, you're trying to like
osmosis.
Sponge up all of the like the spirit of the brand, you know, and like we talk about the brand. And I'm sure everyone who has a brand talks about a brand. But it's like writing down on a piece of paper what the brand is always sounds so.
What's the ID brand?
It's so like ineffable. Like I'm like, it's kind of about having the right people in the room and cultivating the right spirit. You know, like ID is
fun.
Youth culture magazine. It's about style, but it's also about like the world. I think for this issue, we have these little taglines on the cover. And one of them is like chic and based since 1980. I think we're kind of, you know, it's like you have to be both poles of something. Like,
is that chic and based?
Yeah.
Is that the spectrum?
Yeah. It's like highbrow, lowbrow, headless, refined, and kind of find, high-low and find like a nice middle ground where you can dance in between those things.
Yeah, think global, vibe local.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be our next cover line.
Well, this pod episode has taken a minute to nail down schedule-wise because you're busy traipsing through Europe for a fucking month, attending fashion shows, partying with the glitterati, wearing fab outfits. Do you not realize we're in a recession?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Is your job hard, I guess is
my job hard?
Because it looks fab.
Right.
It's both fab and hard. It's just,
it's chic and based and fab and hard.
Yeah. I think it's like, I love doing it. So if you love doing something, even when it
you never work a day in
sucks,
your life.
No, even when it sucks, it doesn't feel hard. You know, like
traveling for a month for work is fucking hard.
That's
I will say by the end of like 31 days, I was in London when there was like that explosion around Heathrow. So my flight got moved to the next day. So there's like one more day. And that, I mean, I was
damn it, I packed my underwear perfectly.
No, literally.
You're like, I'm going to set off the next bomb if I don't get out of this fucking country.
But by the end, I was sort of like ragged. Like 31 days is too long.
That's
on
insane.
A work trip.
Why would you?
I think.
Is that normal for you?
No, we hosted a party at the Standard like a week after Paris Fashion Week ended. So it was like a twofer because it was like we could go to London, hang out with the team there, go to dinner, go to the office, like meet all the PR people and, you know, agents and whoever in London that we never get to see. And then we'll just be there for the party and then we'll come home.
31 days later.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What was the first thing you did when you got home?
31 days later.
Went to bed.
Yeah.
I think I slept for like 30 hours.
You did, and you earned it. You know what, Steff? You earned it.
I came back on a Saturday night and I like woke up on a Monday morning and I was like ready to go.
Yeah, comatose. Wait, so, and I know this is like, I don't think this has been broached a little bit, but do you think that there's still people that like look at what you do on social media and think it is all fucking fun and games? You think there's people that don't know how much work it goes into being a fashion editor?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so because I think there's, you know, most people who are into fashion or who maybe like follow ID or follow fashion accounts are also like creators. And so if you're making it for yourself, you know how much work it takes to make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also like, who cares if they think it's hard or easy? Like if people are looking at it and thinking like, I like this story. Yeah, but also like I like what they're doing. It's like, you know, you don't need to care if I've like haven't had a sip of water in 5 hours or whatever.
God damn, get this girl some water.
Did you have to, with the ID relaunch, where you're like, you know what? Personal brand relaunch time. Did that go through your head at all or no? Not like your fashion and your style, because that's remained consistent for many, many, many years as long as we've known you, but like, I don't know, the way you fucking present on social media. I'm not saying you have. I'm just wondering if maybe you have. I don't know.
You know, it's a big job. It's a relaunch of a brand. The responsibility isn't lost on me. And I think like I want to do a good job. I want to be a good representative. I want to be a good leader, and I want to be a good team player. So like that kind of stuff is always like running in the background of my mind, but I wasn't like hard pivot.
You know what? I need to put on a black turtleneck and get a headshot like
Yeah. Do you think Tom has milked that headshot to the point where we can get another one finally?
He looks so good in
I think that's why I've seen it 100,000 times.
The fifth Beatle.
If I looked that good in a black turtleneck with like a little...
Everyone looks good.
Who's to say you don't?
I don't know.
The tactical turtleneck?
Yeah. I'm really bad at having a headshot taken, and every time I try to do it, it just like never works out.
No.
So it's like it's a lost.
So if you have a good one, you use it.
You just got to run it.
Hence why Tom is running this one to the fucking ground, guys.
Has ID with the relaunch, with the biannual magazine, officially saved print media?
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I don't know. Was print media in peril? Like
yes.
Okay, yes. No. Okay. So true.
Are you kidding me?
So true.
How many years were you at Vogue?
Yeah. I think.
Sorry, I just triggered something deep within you. We're gonna get to Vogue.
I think like this is so maybe cheesy to say, but I think like craving good storytelling is like a basic human instinct. And so whether you're watching it on YouTube or you're reading it in a print magazine or you're reading it on a website or you're like reading screenshots that a friend sent you of a newsletter, like you just want to know where.
No, subscribe to the Substack, please.
Yeah. You just want to know what's up and be in the right conversations and have the right information. So I think like it was interesting for me because it's the first time that I've really worked on a print magazine. Like when I was at Condé Nast, I was really doing like a lot of digital stuff. And then at Essence, we would do kind of like little printed projects, but we never did a full magazine. And so interesting to think about like, okay, you're making this tome that's going to sit with people for 6 months because our next issue is 6 months from now or 5 months from now. So you really want it to be filled with a lot of good stuff that people care about, that they go back to, not just like vibes. Like you can't make a print magazine that is vibes.
Right.
A lot of people are trying.
You have to make a print magazine that is information based, that like carries its weight over the days or weeks or months that it lives with people, you know? And I think we spent a lot of time looking at Terry's ID from the 80s and 90s, which even though they were like thinner, kind of like
how sticky were those pages?
Zine style magazines, they were still like
crack it in half, dude.
They were like flooded with intel. Like every section of the page had a little fact on it. Like
so that's inspiring then, and you're like, this is the essence of what print should be, not even just ID, but print.
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely the essence of ID. Like there are beautiful print magazines that are more like image based or like simple text. But I think for us, we were like really invigorated to see how some of like the earliest versions of the magazine were like, they were just so much information.
So it's a density thing.
It's a density
But at the same time, having spent so much time in digital where it's like, you have to cover everything, right? Versus a magazine, there are obviously constraints into what you can put in there. Do you appreciate that now there actually is like an editorial or an editing down process? Like we can only put so much of the magazine that will stand the test of time, that will stand the test of 6 months, 6 decades, whatever, versus digital where it's just like, this happened.
I think even with our digital, we're trying to like be more strategic. Like to me, the age of the internet where you just cover everything all the time is over.
Really?
Thank fucking God.
Or that's what it's now just on that's what social media is for?
Yeah, it's just on social media and people are doing this kind of like buy the second update of everything for free. So if you're
Why am I learning about a helicopter crash on a mood board page?
I mean, it's like everyone learns about everything on Pop Crave. You know, like I learned the results of the
Poo Crave. Don't forget Poo Crave.
And they're getting harder to differentiate with every passing day.
That's the point, I think.
But people are talking on the internet all the time for free. And so I think if you are having a magazine or a brand or a publisher, you need to be like synthesizing and being really strategic about where you show up and what stories you tell. So in a way, it's like we're finessing what we cover on the website and on Instagram and on TikTok and wherever in the same way that we're like finessing what goes in the magazine.
So it's different real estate for different things?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was your favorite story in the most recent, the launch issue, the relaunch issue of ID? What was your favorite story?
All of them? No.
Oh, come on.
No, I know
there were some stinkers up in that bitch.
I will say like the coolest part of this relaunch for me was like the concept of how we found our cover girl.
Hell yeah.
And just like being a part of that process was something that I'll remember forever. Like we decided, Tom called me and was like, I have a crazy idea. And when if Tom calls you and is like, I have a crazy idea, that's when you know something amazing is about to happen.
In.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let's go.
Get your turtleneck on.
Yeah.
Your tactical turtle.
He was like, what if we put a totally unknown person on the cover? And ID did that in the 80s and 90s. Like they were just street cast kids outside of clubs. And that's how FK Twigs ended up being on the cover.
I learned that in her interview with Playboy Cardi.
Yeah.
The journalist, Playboy Cardi.
Yeah.
He was so cute. I wasn't really familiar with the charm of Playboy Cardi until...
Got to catch him on the right day in my experience.
It was, I was like, oh, what a cutie. And they were obviously best friends for a long time.
That was actually a really cool conversation.
Yeah. I was grateful to be like eavesdropping on the Zoom call. I was like, this rocks. But anyway, so we went on this mission to find an unknown person to put on the cover. And we got really lucky because Jen Vendetti, the casting director who did like Euphoria and the Safdie movies and is working on like the Charlie XCX movie, had time or agreed to work with us to do this casting. And she's like a savant of casting. It was really amazing to see how she was analyzing all the submissions. We got like over 800 submissions of girls across the United States.
Sexist. No boys, huh?
Sexist.
Sorry, boys. Next time.
I'm putting my name in, dude.
You guys could be on the cover.
Yeah.
You have to wink with the right eye. That's the thing. Which a lot of people, it's easier to wink with your left eye. I don't know.
Well, yeah, assuming you haven't had a stroke.
You ever had anyone that can't wink? Because those people exist.
This is what I learned is a lot of people actually can't wink.
Fucking idiots.
Which is why sometimes you do the hand or you put a thing or.
So Tom called you up with this idea. How nervous were you to put an unknown teen on the cover? And did you guys hedge your bets by also getting Naomi Campbell and FK? Just in case it doesn't work out.
God forbid.
We got two queens.
I was all in. Because I just think also like, if you're going to do it, you got to do it. You can't like sort of go halvesies on a concept. No half stepping. And so, we like watched all these casting videos. We met all these teenagers. They did a second round of submissions. We talked with some on Zoom and it was just so inspiring. We ended up writing another story with like the top 8 other girls. Because like
also
the world,
Rans.
The world kind of is bad.
Well,
you don't say.
In speaking with all these young people, like, did it fill you with any hope? Like, how are the kids doing right now?
Yeah, they're all so optimistic about their futures. And so, I mean,
get real, kids. What the fuck?
Yeah,
no,
hope you know how to swim.
You're screwed.
Hope you know how to swim. You have fire insurance.
So
they were naive. So they're naive.
Their shoulders hadn't been crushed yet by the weight of the world.
Their shoulders hadn't been crushed yet. But I just think like it speaks to a spirit that you as a human, no matter how old you are, hope to carry inside of you, which is like
childlike wonder.
No, but like a slight sort of optimism and drive for the future. Like even if like they're so aware that the situation is bad, but still so driven to find a way to make it work. And so that was really inspiring to meet everyone. And then we chose Enza, who's from Ohio and was on the cover. And everyone went to Ohio to shoot the cover, and then she came to Paris for the magazine launch. And it was just so cool to spend time in Paris with an 18-year-old, her first time in Europe, and like do all this stuff for the first time again. Like I was like, wow, this is so much
I can
fun.
drink.
Yeah, finally.
I don't think she had a drink because she's like very mature and responsible. But
And the kids don't drink anyway. That's a well-established fact now.
They're not drinking. They're not fucking.
Nope.
Has she gotten like opportunities from this like incredible once in a lifetime?
She's like,
event?
she's coming to New York next week, maybe,
Wow.
and meeting with like other agents
Crazy.
and talent agencies. So
Good for
it's
her.
been really exciting, and she's so like cool.
Yeah. Who is Steff Yotka's dream cover star?
Wow, I don't know if I should say because like a lot of them are coming true.
Oh,
Yeah, or in reach, right? Where
Yeah,
it's like-
in reach.
Yeah.
In
Okay,
reach.
well, maybe then let's do, how about maybe someone who's dead? Right? Let's do that.
Okay, I mean, I think it would be 6-foot Prince on the cover of ID. I think he really represents what ID is all about, like being your own weirdo.
yeah,
Yeah. Goat.
fentanyl,
Oh.
color purple. I love. He's
Yeah.
on my mount.
Yeah, I mean, he's,
Yeah.
I mean, facts are facts,
Come
but
on now.
and he's awesome either way.
Yeah.
Fantaside, he's the man.
Yeah. Who is your dream person in fashion to interview? Because you've interviewed a lot of the
Oh.
goats, and we're going to ask you about Rick Owens after this, but someone you haven't yet. Maybe they're in reach. Let's manifest it right now. Who is it?
Great
They're,
question.
they're probably listening. Let's be real.
Mucha, we
You're like
see
Rei
you.
Kawakubo loves this podcast.
She
No.
loves throwing fits.
Yeah. Is it
That's-
Kawakubo-san?
Yeah, is it right?
I spoke to Rei Kawakubo for like a minute, and that will sustain me for the rest of my life.
How'd that
I mean,
go?
it would. She answered some questions for me over email the day before, and then I saw her at this event, and
Were you wearing comb?
Ooh, uh-oh.
I think I was wearing Junya,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
it's like related,
Yeah.
part of the family,
Right. Showing your support.
And she kind of
As long as you were wearing Gosha.
she was with Adrian, and she like
Steph was
turned to greet me, and then went. You know, she's only speaks Japanese and
That's
kind of.
Don't do the voice. Don't do the voice.
No, I wasn't gonna do a voice, but she
Speaks
just
English.
went like this with her hand. She was talking. She was like this, and then
Oh,
this.
loser.
Yeah, she was like, "You're a loser."
Wait, she said she gave you the too small?
No, but Adrian was like, she said she knows you wanted really long answers from her,
Oh,
but she just
funny.
gave you a sentence, and then she kind of like
You should have hit her with the
giggled.
little heart.
Yeah, this was before then. This was like in
before
2017.
K-pop.
Yeah, before we were doing the little.
So she
heart.
like pantomimed editing to you,
Yeah.
basically.
She was like, I self-edited
That's
from the
so
graph
funny.
to the sentence.
Wow.
That's
Incredible.
classic Ray.
Yeah. But no, I guess like
Classic
it
Ray
would be
Chan.
amazing to interview Mucha in like a longer setting, or like I think
Lot to
there's
talk about.
yeah.
Gotta get her and Donatella.
I know. I mean, that would be my dream
Chat.
interview.
Interview each other, kind
Yeah, with me there. Sort of the Twigs
just
and
two-
Playboy Cardi.
Two
of-
Italian yappers.
Yeah.
of. She did that with Raph. She's done that with Raph. Obviously,
Yeah.
when they hired Raph. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get that coming.
Yeah,
Maybe
that would be
on deck.
amazing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Huge for me as like a Prada girl and someone from New Jersey.
As
Are you
a proud Italian American.
Yeah.
Are you a Mew Mew mama?
I think I'm more of a Prada
Princess.
person.
Prada princess.
Prada princess for
Yeah.
sure.
Got it.
What was it like hanging out with Rick Owens?
Yeah.
The best. I wish if I could like bottle the energy and sell it, I would be a billionaire.
Describe his energy.
So you'd be Rick Owens because that's kind
Yeah.
of what the brand does.
No, literally. He's so open and generous with everything. Like just such a kind man.
Not with
Like-
podcast appearances.
We've tried. We're trying.
I don't think he really likes coming to New York, which
No,
maybe is
I
a
don't think he likes the States.
deal breaker. Yeah. He hadn't been back to California in like 20 years or
I
something.
mean, good for him.
Yeah, he was early on that
who
shit.
could
Can blame him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. You know.
But okay, so hanging out with him, he was just the kindest, most generous, open man.
Yeah, and he'll tell you he'll answer any question, which I really admire in a designer or a famous person in like today's world. Like people are so afraid to say anything sometimes that you could interview someone who you've like always dreamed about interviewing, and even if it's kind of like a puff piece, people veer away from making any definitive statements because you just never know how things are going to be interpreted on the internet. And
Totally.
Rick is just kind of like really open, and he knows who he is. So he can just express his opinion. Like he's not shy about himself.
Just a jacked bisexual.
Yeah, and he's his own boss, right? Like that's the thing too. I think that a lot of designers, they don't have, even if they give a great quote, they don't have the ability where it's like, I'm not gonna like he's losing his own money if that's gonna happen, right? If he says something crazy, and that's there's power in that.
What do you smell like?
He lit some diptyque candles.
Oh, what a basic bitch. What the fuck?
I didn't want to say it,
but he there's a lot of like Aesop products.
What a basic
really
in the home. Well,
Rick, get your fucking grooming game. Well, not like that, but you know what I mean.
I think it's just about the like a simple packaging.
Right? Interesting.
Aesop.
They did a collab with Aesop on like a candle and a fragrance, and it's really great.
All right,
So,
I guess
10
he's a
out of
company
10.
man. Did anything about him surprise you?
I mean, he just had a lot of great stories, that some of which made it into the interview that is in the magazine, some of which kind of got cut. He talks about like meeting Michelle and like being in LA in the 80s and 90s, which just sounds like the craziest, most fun place if you were like kind of a weirdo.
Sure.
He talks about like his really radical days. He told a story about someone picking a beer bottle up with their asshole.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how. I mean,
good party trick.
Yeah, good party trick. But yeah, he showed me his birth chart. Like he's just really open. And
what's his sign?
Scorpio.
That tracks.
Yeah, November, I think. But yeah, it's just like a fun hang. It's also like the longer you do this and the more you interview people at all stages of their career and of their business, it's like so fun and freeing, like you said, to be with someone who's at the top of their game, who's their own boss.
Yeah.
Because you're like, there's no guardrails here. No. Like we can level with each other and you know what you're doing and you're going to say it to me. Whereas like sometimes you show up for an interview and you've already cleared like 19 PR hurdles and now you're going to clear like 10 more over the process of doing it.
But you've been working fashion for how many, like 10, 15 years now?
Yeah, like 15. I got my first paycheck for writing a fashion article in 2009.
Wow. What was the article?
I wrote something for Fashionista and I got paid $25.
Woo.
What?
And I was
huge.
like, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah. Holy fuck.
That's $10,000.
I made it.
In 2025 money. What was the story on? Do you remember? Was like American
I don't remember.
Apparel?
I started
these V-necks, the top 10 V-necks.
Ever heard of this little brand Supreme? They're about to blow up. Dude.
I started as like an intern at Fashionista in 2009. And I think
was it at that little, the top floor on that Crate and Barrel?
No, it was even before that. It was in the basement of an apartment building on Mott Street. And it was kind of a situation like this. Like it was sort of like a big office that was shared. This is positive parentheses complimentary.
We're working out
so you're saying
that
we're going places.
Yeah. Do you
remember what the story was? Like, what were you writing about in 2009?
That's crazy you don't remember. It's your first
15 years ago.
I definitely wrote about like Kate Moss for sure. There was like some peak Kate Moss looks. Yeah. I think I was writing about like Mark by Marc Jacobs.
Skinny scarves.
Skinny scarves. Fashions Night Out. I did a lot of Fashions Night Out.
Hell yeah. Who doesn't miss rioting in Soho?
Yeah. F&O, baby.
Yeah.
McQueen skull scarves.
Yeah. All the good stuff you remember from 2009. New York Fashion Week at Bryant Park.
Ooh, the time capsule shit.
Tents.
Yeah, we love the tents here, people.
So you oversee the digital as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look. We always love writing what we want to write about, but we got to pay attention to the numbers and the metrics. What story on ID Digital always goes super crazy in terms of like clicks, page views, eyeballs, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
What's like the topic that really gets people going?
We just came from a data meeting, so I'm like, actually know this.
Let's go. Share some insights.
New talent.
Yeah.
Like introducing our audience to new people is like always a banger on ID, which is a really fun situation to be in because it just means you get to keep discovering, like you get to keep meeting new people and keep putting them on our website
and putting on the fucking listeners or the readers,
turning everybody else
Yeah.
on to someone who's cool, who's talented
in acting, film and entertainment, in music and fashion,
across the board, kind of.
Sports.
Next up,
sports. We haven't delved into sports yet, but
you guys got a gaming vertical.
We have a streamer in the issue who's coming out as a digital cover, but we're into gaming.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Listen, what tends to brick numbers wise, but you feel is important to cover anyway?
I'm like, no bricks.
Old talent.
You have to, Tom always says you have to keep the mid out of the streets.
Wow.
And I'm like, if we feel, when you're writing, if you don't believe in what you're writing, if you don't have conviction, you can feel it.
Unless someone is paying you right there. You gotta do it.
It's like,
that rocks.
So I'm like, even there are things that people say and I send it back and I'm like, I don't think this is right. Like workshop it. Or like put a little more POV in there.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
What do you look for in a pitch that like catches your eye?
I'm interested in things that I don't know about. Like I always find it interesting when people are pitching me like things that I am obsessed with. I'm like, you did the research too well, and in a way you're like screwing yourself. They'd be like, oh, a lot of people are wearing crazy skirts. And I'm like, yeah, don't worry.
There's
like
literally dozens of us.
Yeah, no shit.
Whereas if someone has discovered like a new designer or has a opinion or like a point of view on a trend or a music trend or even just like a city that is thriving culturally, like that kind of stuff to me is so interesting rather than like I looked at all the Fashion Week runways and have deduced that like bows are trending. I'm like, yeah, like
bows.
I mean, that was very 2 years ago. Like everything had a little bow on it.
Have you heard about this new city that's popping called Mexico City?
Yes, I've never been.
Oh, it's still great, even though it's
like past its prime, maybe.
Oh, it's been ruined.
It's Williamsburg now. Okay. Well, certain neighborhoods are Williamsburg, namely 2, but it's a pretty bustling, thriving city. How can do you take pitches from writers? Shut the fuck up.
I'm like, great. Should we all go?
No, you're putting her on right now. This is great shit.
How can aspiring writers pitch you?
You can email us. I'm a big fan of an email pitch. You could DM
but what percentage
me,
of pitches that you get are fucking garbage?
Straight to trash.
Yeah.
I don't know. I read them all.
Oh, for real?
No, I really I'm pretty good.
That's a tremendous waste of your time.
Responding to emails, but I do do a cursory sort of skim. And I'm not the only editor of our website, so there's other people
Thank God.
You could pitch. And we talk about.
We'll give you Robbie's number if you ask us nicely.
We talk about all the pitches. So,
what's the worst pitch you've ever gotten in recent memory? Yo, you heard this Rick Owens guy's next up?
I mean, this Mexico City one was pretty shitty.
I don't know. I mean, there not so much today, but there are certainly times like when I was at Condé Nast where it was like you're just getting mass pitches from like PR companies that are doing like.
We get that too. It's like, what are you doing, guys?
And they're so, I'm like, I don't even cover the thing that you're pitching and it's so random and out of my league,
Yeah.
It's kind of offensive because it's like you don't even understand like the product or the thing that we're like, whether it's ID or throw. It's like, totally. So I'm offended that you even like threw me on this list and you're sending me this shit and wasting my time.
The best is that Lawrence's name on social media, which is really cool, is John Legend, like JWN. And so people say, hey, James and John.
Yeah.
It's like, that is.
Yeah, they don't call you Dr. Taco. They're not Mr. Taco and John.
My real name is in my bio, I think. I don't know. But it's, hey, John. Hey, Sartorial.
But that's a good way to filter out people that I'm like, they don't even know what is remotely happening.
Right.
Where do you think there's room for improvement at ID?
I mean, you got to keep improving. Like, obviously, I think like we are all so proud of our first issue and everything that we're doing, but it's also like you got to iterate and keep going. I just wish we were in more places, talking to more people, finding more talent. You always are striving to like be more connected, be better.
So you want more work. You want to do more work.
I do.
Really?
Yeah, I love working. I was like talking to my boyfriend this morning. He was like, Sorry, my fiance. I hate saying that though. This morning. And he was like, what are you going to talk about on this podcast? And I was like, fashion. And he was like, oh, your job. And I was like, yeah. And then he's like, are you going to talk about other things? I was like what?
Do you work 7 days a week?
Ooh.
No, I'm really good at taking time away.
Good.
31 days for them, 31 days for me.
Yeah, right. But like I will like on the weekend like take my dog for like a 5-hour walk, you know, and like not really look at my phone. But I do like really like doing this, and it's like a blessing and a curse when you turn your hobby or your passion or your interest into your job, because it's like it's fun for me to interview people, write about fashion, edit stories, think about social media, and so like I'm always kind of like
What's your screen time?
Ooh.
I don't look.
Yeah, probably.
That's bad.
So wait, so you feel like you have a good handle on work-life balance? Because I think that is something that a lot of people in the industry do struggle with. Not us, but
clearly not us.
Well, we struggle with it just in the opposite way that most people.
You're doing too much life.
So much life. Well, because you know why?
We're balancing.
You gotta live it. You gotta live it.
We're just balancing so hard.
I think I have an okay relationship to it. I think like I could be a little bit more like I'm putting my phone down and I'm having me time, but I'm like, you're always one Instagram click away from like finding a cool new person. And it is like,
you're like the gambling addict meme with looking for the gems.
Yeah. And I will say
keep digging, keep clicking.
Like looking on the RealReal.
Oh no.
That's the screen time.
You're not shopping, you're working on the RealReal.
Sure.
Is that what you tell your fiance?
That's what I tell myself. I'm like, this is research.
Have you ever felt any sort of burnout?
I think like the pandemic was like a hard time to work in anywhere.
That was life burnout. You're like, I need some work. I need a check, dude.
But it was a hard time to work in fashion because nothing was really happening.
Sweatpants.
Yeah. And there was a lot of just like things literally ground to a halt. And, I think it wasn't so much burnout as like really made me. And I think sort of everyone like rethink what they wanted to be doing. And so, yeah.
Like, this is it. My dog, my boyfriend that I'm engaged to.
Yeah.
And fashion.
And shoes.
What do you have interest outside of fashion?
Yeah.
The Packers.
The Packers. No.
Sports?
I mean, I'm like I'd give myself like a B- as a Packers fan.
Okay.
Which isn't bad. I'm not failing.
True.
But it's just the season conflicting with the start of Fashion Month is always like a big problem because I'm like in Milan and
then Super Bowl, Fashion Week.
Yeah. In 2 Januaries ago when the Packers were in the playoffs still in January, rare. I like FaceTime my mom from my hotel room at Paris Fashion Week at 2 a.m. and was like watching the game in bed wearing this t-shirt. Like, come on, guys, they lost. So then it was like even worse.
Sure. That's dedication.
I don't know. I do a lot of like chilling.
Hell yeah.
Like outside of working, I just want to like read a book, do a little arts and crafts. I do a lot of like macrame. It makes me sound like I'm a senior citizen doing a hobby at home.
You like to relax and hang out.
Do you ever DIY your shit?
Sometimes, like right during the pandemic, I got really into macrame. I was like making these macrame purses that I was like carrying around all the time. But it just
I just discovered a new designer. His name's Steff Yotka.
Right?
Someone was like, you should sell these. I was like, it takes me like 3 weeks to make
So just charge more.
Charge $10,000 per bag.
Yeah.
That's domestic production right there.
Watching movies, hanging out with my friends. I like, I try to not... I like when I'm not working, I go so low vibrational.
Nice.
Like, because doing this job is like, you're traveling so much, you're meeting people. And, ID is a culture magazine. So like Fashion Week is the big story, but it's like,
everything around
we've got someone at Coachella. We're going to go to music festivals. We're going to go to the Cannes Film Fest. Like there's all kinds of stuff that you're doing. So for me,
you send your least favorite writer to Coachella?
No.
As punishment?
Exactly. No, it's funny. I sent Nicolai's at Coachella. She's never been before. And she was like, I have to go experience.
Fresh set eyes, right?
Yeah,
on the ground.
That's cool. Eyes. So we'll see.
Rough stuff.
Really excited to hear about the Cactus Jack experience.
Yeah.
It's going to be sick.
Of all your bosses that you've had while working in your 15, 16 years in media, how do you rate Thom Bettridge?
Oh, love.
Yeah. Is he number one?
Love. He's definitely, I would say, no, I mean, I don't think I've ever had a bad boss. I think I'm really...
In fashion?
No, I'm being like totally...
Let's run through them. Tom,
and then Tom again.
Noah Johnson.
Noah Johnson.
At style.com.
And then also like Nicole Phelps, style.com.
Legend.
Vogue Runway. Legend. The most nervous I've ever been to go to a meeting was when I interviewed for my job at style.com with Nicole. I was like, I couldn't.
You're shaking right now.
I was shaking.
Yeah.
Who's your boss at Vogue?
Nicole.
Okay.
And then, but you also have
the whole
like,
time?
Yeah, right up until the end when I really took on social media. But you have like Halo bosses, like Sally Singer was like
legend.
All legends, yeah.
Like absolute legend.
It's cool that we got that Noah snuck into this group of legends. That's cool.
Yeah, but Noah
slid right in.
Noah was such a great boss because I do think what's important is to have someone who's kind of like the opposite of you as your boss in a way.
Someone good at skateboarding.
Someone good at skateboarding and who loves wearing pants. No, and not skirts.
Right. Yeah.
Because you want to kind of like fill in each other's gaps in a way.
Yin and yang, kind of?
Yeah, kind of. I
Sorry.
also think, like, I was thinking about this as I knew we were going to be talking about career on the only podcast that matters. And,
Book it.
you know,
Flip it.
you got to go with people that you like and people that you believe in
100%.
and believe in you.
Yes,
Like,
facts.
you have to prioritize your colleagues and your boss
like
and
that.
whoever more than the job.
Absolutely.
Kind of,
Ooh,
I
that's
think.
a bar.
Absolutely. You have to work with people you like.
Yeah,
'Cause you're
and who
spending your whole
inspire
fucking
you.
day with them.
It's like, I mean, when I worked at Vogue, Nicole and I talked for like 12 hours a day. And, you know, I still text her all the time. And
That's
like
a lot.
Tom and I are
That's too
talking
much.
all the time,
That's
whether
too
we're
much.
sending each other memes or talking about work. Like, you have to feel like the people around you are like buoying you
Yeah.
to the place you want to be
Right.
too.
Right,
Because you have to
Yeah.
have so much trust.
How can Tom improve?
He can't.
Really?
Come on.
I
Come
don't,
on.
I mean,
New headshot.
no. He's just so tall.
So you should shrink?
He is a mountain of a man.
I think he's at least a foot taller than I am, which is just funny because then we'll go places together and I'm kind of like, hi.
Yeah.
Makes for an interesting dynamic, though,
Like,
just
what's
visually.
going on up
Like
there?
twins, DeVito and Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Basically.
I'm
You have to order an Uber XL with him. That sucks. Because there aren't that many, so the wait time's longer.
Yeah, totally. No, he's just
The only
too tall.
downside.
He's just
Fuck
too
waiting
tall.
for Ubers.
But I think it's also, if I would love to be tall.
Really? How tall are you?
I'm like let's say 5'5" on a good day.
How tall do you want to be?
5'9".
Oh.
Really?
How tall are you guys? How tall do you tell people you are?
5'11"?
Do you say 5'10" and a half, and I say 5'9"?
Which is the truth,
I say 5'9", which is also the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
I
the
wear
true
a lot
heights.
of platform shoes. You know, a shoe
Yeah.
with a casual built-in platform.
We love a heel on this show.
Do you like men in heels?
Yeah,
Like with a stacked.
yeah.
Nice.
Nice. I
Us
mean,
too.
I did we talked about Prince before, but I grew
Oh.
up idolizing Prince. Like, my parents let me listen to music you shouldn't let children listen to. Like, the two biggest plays in our house was Rolling Stones and Prince.
Mm.
And I didn't know
Sticky
what
fingers.
any of the songs were about, but I was
Sex.
like, yeah, well,
Yeah,
now
all
I
of
know.
Yeah.
Little brown sugar at home.
But so yeah, Prince is
Girl, you got an ass.
I painted my bedroom purple. Like, that's how much I like Prince. And
Right.
yeah. So I think a man in a heel is very,
Oh,
Nice.
It's confident.
it's very confident.
so Tom goaded. Is
Mhm.
Robbie your favorite son?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
My only son.
Really?
I mean, my longest son.
Have you?
I don't know.
Your longest son? He's
long.
He's a lanky
I'm
motherfucker.
like, edit this part out.
Have you ever had to chew him out?
Yeah.
No, I'm not like a big fan of chewing people out, period.
How do you manage when someone fucks up? Like, let's role play. We fucked up.
You
even though-
guys never fucked.
Well, I know. So again, role playing. Just like, how do you how do you choose someone out if you're so kind?
Well, yeah, I don't think you should choose someone out. I think you just need to be like, here's where things went wrong.
Mm.
And here's what we're going to do in the future.
Problem
And also,
solved.
like, I think a lot of people are scared to ask questions sometimes. You know, I'm always around.
Mm.
If you're in the middle of doing something and you're like, choosing, there's a fork in the road and you know which way to go, text
It's
me.
always better to over communicate.
Yeah,
True.
totally.
What's been your proudest journalistic moment in your long storied career? Long and storied, like Robbie.
It's hard. It's hard. I will say, like, it is hard to remember them all. Like, sometimes I'll be
So many wins. So many
Yeah.
wins.
No, not
She's
that
like the
they're-
Packers. So
Not
many,
that they're
so
all
many
wins.
chips, dude.
Yeah.
I can't even.
They call
count.
it the Yotka Trophy.
not that they're all wins, but just like when you've been doing it for so long. And, you know, like there were times when I was working at, Fashionista, I worked at Nylon Magazine, like at Vogue, where you're writing like 3 or 4 things a day, or
That's too much.
during Fashion Week, you could do 6 reviews a day.
That's
Right.
insane.
That you're just like, I don't know, I have like memory loss about it. And sometimes I'll be researching something for a story I'm doing now and be like, oh, this was a good article. And they'll be like, I wrote it.
Damn.
Oh shit!
Bylineception.
Yeah,
Wait,
literally.
you had Dries' last interview
I had
as brand director?
Yeah, I had the first interview with Julian Klausner, who's the new
Mhm.
creative director, with Dries. So
Do you believe in Julian?
I really like him.
You looked him in the eyes and you said, yeah, he's got it.
You vetted his ass.
Old soul, which I think is like integral to the Dries brand. It's like not a hype brand.
Right.
It's like about beauty and elegance.
Gardening
and
at your chateau.
Yeah, gardening at your chateau. He does not garden. And I don't think that made it.
This man a hoe.
Made it into the story. But he was like, I love cooking. And so, you know, you got to have like a sort of
Dries can cook. I've seen the
Epicurean pursuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
Dries Van owns a lifestyle brand.
Yeah. But I think about that garden all the time.
I mean, it's in his house.
Like that's the work-life balance I want to have is like, I have this job where I'm grinding all the time. I'm putting on these fashion shows. I mean, I don't want to be a designer, but like I'm doing stuff. People love it.
Right.
And then when I'm not doing it, I'm just like peacefully in my little.
You have a snake plant in your Brooklyn apartment.
I do. And I was away for 31 days and guess who didn't water it?
Oh, your boyfriend?
Yeah.
That you're engaged to?
And then he was like,
the wedding's off.
You don't need to water it so much. And I was like, what?
The whole month?
Yeah. It's like,
this is a nice metaphor for parenting that will happen in the future.
Yeah. I was like, please water the plants. So now I've like drowned them in water since I've been home, trying to resuscitate them.
Let's flex a little bit though. You've interviewed Rick, you've interviewed Dries, you've interviewed Julian. Who else are like, what are the other big names that you've
a lot of really cool stories. I think you can go through your career just interviewing creative directors and like that rocks. And I certainly have a Mount Rushmore of people that I'd love to interview or that I'd love to talk to, or, you know, like Mathieu Blasi is at Chanel, would love to talk to him. Sure. I love talking to Jonathan Anderson. He's like another like amazing interview because he's really thinking about everything.
You're an art history major, right? Do you guys ever talk about art?
Yeah, but I feel a little bit out of my depth with how well versed he is in contemporary art and collecting. But then I also just think, okay, if you report a good story, even if no one reads it, like I'm so fulfilled by that, where it's like I've talked to 20 people and I've synthesized this into something that has meaning. You know, you can't just
It's like cooking.
Yeah, it's like cooking. You don't want to just be a fashion writer that does interviews.
No.
You know, you gotta like
that's what we
hit them with some thoughts. What are you guys most proud of?
This interview right now.
Really?
Honestly, how hard it was to nail you down?
Yeah. Booking you for sure. Number one by a mile.
Real tough.
I know.
I'm leaving.
What about just writers, not just at ID right now, writers in fashion, who are your favorites right now?
Yeah. Peers and colleagues.
I could go on forever. I mean, I feel blessed that Rachel is one of my best friends and one of the best writers. It's like watching Martin Scorsese direct a movie, like
glazing.
You know. Yeah. No, but it's like
I want to see Marty wear some of Rachel's hats.
Yes, he would look amazing in them. I love Rachel. I love Amelia. I love Liana.
All friends of the show.
Yeah, all friends of the show. I love what Lynette and Brooke do at Harper's Bazaar. I love Jose and Laya and Nicole at Vogue. I love reading Sam stuff at GQ, Jacobs at the Times. I mean, if I spoke French, I would read more of Mathieu's work.
All the homies.
You can Google translate that shit.
No, honestly, though, I'm not just saying this. Like, Noah has been... Noah Johnson has been like one of my favorite editors because he not only shapes your narrative, but he questions the way that you're thinking, but also he is one of my favorite fashion writers to read.
He's got bars, especially when he's mad about something.
Yeah, but
well
like
established.
The story he wrote about like the other fashion week, like the slow fashion designers, or like the Yoji interview, like I revisit that stuff a lot because I'm like, you're really telling the story in a great way.
Is that the only way? I just want to go back to that 31 day, like those marathons, like is to be around peers and colleagues who like are also friends first. It's like, is it like emotional support? Is it like motivation to be better? Like, is it all that stuff?
It's all of the above. Like, I'm a big believer that all boats rise with the tide. And I think like, it's just so uncool to be competitive with people or like jealous if someone gets a story and you don't. Like, I'm so excited if one of my friends gets a scoop because I'm like, wow, now I get to read, you know, whoever on this.
Is that you or is that the industry changing? Or a new generation of people?
I think it's a generational thing because everyone that I mentioned, and I know I'm forgetting people and I'm going to call you like in 2 hours and be like, but everyone just wants to see each other win.
Is that your favorite thing about working in fashion media?
Yeah.
What's your least favorite thing?
Who's your least favorite person?
It's the writer you sent to Coachella.
My least favorite thing? I don't know.
Is it the grind? Is it the fact that it just doesn't stop?
Yeah, forever.
There's no break, right?
There's no break, but I think if there was a break, you'd be bored.
A break would be nice.
Could sell some bags.
Yeah, I could do some macrame and start an Instagram
Keep
brand.
your plants alive,
Yeah, my plants would be watered.
But going back to early in your career, is working at Condé Nast, specifically Vogue, the best training that a young person aspiring to be a fashion media star like Steff Yotka herself can put themselves through?
I think so. I mean, I thought it was certainly the best training for me. And I worked with the best people at like a really exciting time in fashion media where it was like, you know, the late 2010s where it was like people like Virgil were just becoming popular. Alessandro, I remember like the first Alessandro Michele Gucci show, and it was like, I think we were still at style.com.
Holy
it was like
shit, he put snakes on the jeans.
No, but literally like the team we were such a small team at style.com. There's like the people in Europe and those of us in the office were in constant communication, and everyone like in our emails was like freaking out about this like really amazing pivot. And then it was like Balenciaga and Demna got there, Vetements. Like it was such a
lot happening.
Time to be
an active time for sure.
An active time to be writing about fashion, and menswear was becoming more of a thing.
Right. What a time to be blogging.
Yeah, it really was. Like there were no boring days on the internet.
Exciting stuff.
In the 2010s. And
being at Vogue and Condé, the beating heart of the whole thing.
It opens a lot of doors. A lot of people want to say yes to an interview. I remember like the first week we were merged from style.com to Vogue. We had to, we were working on our pitches for that week, and Vetements had like just come out with the jeans, like the sort of patchwork together jeans. And I was like, well, we should interview Demna about the jeans. And Nicole was like, okay, cool. And they just like, someone just gave me Demna's phone number.
Sick.
And I was like 24. I think so in my phone. If he's changed but they were like, yeah, you can just text him and he'll, call you. And we talked on the phone, and it's like that you just have access to everything when you work at Vogue.
Throw Gang, longtime listeners of the show will know that the only podcast that matters stays repping Skims, and we couldn't be more thankful and more appreciative to be an official partner of Skims underwear.
That's right, Lawrence. I've been absolutely sauna pilled, and let me tell you, I know it's not proper etiquette to be looking around at what the other fellows are wearing in the locker room.
No.
In fact, it might even be a crime. But I know for a fact that in my cotton 5-inch boxer briefs, everyone else is in their ratty, tore up, nasty looking drawers, and your man's over here is in the Skims, keeping it high and tight. And honestly, best dressed guy in the locker room, hands down.
Shout out to all the best dressed guys in the sauna and the locker room. We see you. You know what? Honestly, you're so right. You got to get your raggedy draws out of the rotation. It's about to be spring, summer. You got shorts on. Everyone maybe is going to see your boxers. You want to hit them with some high-end Skims underwear like me and James. I personally love my stretch 3-inch boxer briefs. Keeps me high and tight and all there. Shop Skims men's and more at skims.com. And if you're in New York, check out the Skims New York flagship on 5th Ave. Let them know that we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show, Throwing Fits, in the drop-down menu that follows. Skims is the official underwear partner of the NBA, WNBA, and USA Basketball.
Did you ever get Gurum's number?
I think so.
Yeah? Would you rather hang out with Demna or Gurum?
It's both together. Another goated interview. Whoever gets Demna and Gurum together.
I don't think it'll ever happen, right? Like, no chance.
I don't know.
What are we going to get first? Peace between these brothers or peace in the Middle East?
Jury's out.
Honestly, it's a toss up.
Well, okay, so that was a very specific time where like a lot was happening. It was kind of like, disruption in fashion and the media and just like how people consume stuff, social media, etc. In 2025, should young people aspire to work in fashion media? And like, what is your advice to them to break into the industry?
I think you have to teach yourself how to be an expert. There's obviously like fashion schools, amazing fashion schools and fashion programs, but I also think like fashion is a human industry. You need to like know the people, understand the dynamics, be personable, like go to things. There's a lot of factors that go into being successful. I sound like a career coach, but like
we're in the corner of Throwing Fits where you give career advice.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So be chill,
but also like go with it. Like I never said no to a story. And there are stories that I'm like, that was so stupid. Like, why did I go to like,
Coachella?
I've never been to Coachella.
Don't. Go.
I think I could go.
Don't go.
Just to see it. The thing about
There's nothing to see.
which makes this job so fun for me, but is also like maybe my like character flaw, is I'll kind of do anything once. Like that Pierre Moss show that was in the like torrential rain.
Oh yeah.
Everyone was having a bad time, and I was like, "This is cool," like.
Well, yeah, because you were wearing a lot of clothing. Everyone else was cold and
shed
wet.
a layer, you'll dry.
True, partially true. But like, I love seeing how the sausage gets made, and even if you go to a show or you go on a trip. A what?
Never mind. Sexual.
They do veal sausage.
Oh yeah, young bulls.
Okay,
Yeah.
These are flying right over my head here.
Gosha's a sex predator.
Yeah.
Thanks for spelling it out for me.
So like Gosha, say yes to everything.
Like one of Gosha's models.
Just go with it.
No. But like,
it's like on set.
Go Alexander. Go Wang mode. But okay, like try everything.
You got to be down for the adventure, like.
And you got to realize that you're not a fucking expert.
Yeah, and you have to kind of like there's always a story. Even if everything is going wrong, like
that's the story.
People, it's like the interview is late, the person doesn't know what they're talking about, like there was a mishap, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's raining, like whatever. Like that is all information that enriches your experience, and rather than like hating it, you need to like do kind of like a psychological switch where you're like, okay, I'm paying attention to everything.
Right.
And no matter how good this fashion show is, or how cool this store opening is, or how exciting this like interview is, I am telling a story that I want to tell.
How have you avoided becoming jaded like so many other people in fashion? Is it just like a mindset?
Yeah, actually, like one of the earliest times I interviewed Rick Owens, he said something to me. I think I asked him this question and it didn't make it into the final interview. And he was like, you can't let this industry make you hard. You have to stay soft. Like you have to stay open.
Don't tell that to Gosha.
Minded.
I mean, it was right there. So it's a mindset?
It's a mindset. And I also just think like, I love an adventure. I love doing a little scheme. Ooh. And in a way, like going on all these trips, going away for 31 days is like, it's a slog.
How do you pack for that?
Mess. It's a slog, but it's also like, I don't know, to me, it's like a fun little challenge.
You're very lucky that like not a lot of people in this world get that opportunity. Right?
Exactly. Not a lot of people get to do this. Not a lot of people. And, I also am very grateful to now have been doing it for so long that you like have friends and places and spaces in these fashion cities where you're like, I'm having the worst day of my life. Like it's raining. A PR person yelled at me. An interview got canceled and I tripped and fell. That
Who
you're like,
yelled at you?
I know.
And let's blacklist them forever.
But you're like, I know who to call, or I know where to go to just like sit on someone's couch and like put myself back together. So I think that's also a big part of it, is like you can't be
Who's got weed in Paris?
So addicted.
Your network is your net worth, as they say.
Yeah, your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be so addicted to the grind that you like don't have friends or don't take time to enjoy it.
So wait, do you ever catch yourself where it's like maybe you got a bad seat at a fashion show where you catch yourself getting a little like whether it's jaded or like entitled?
Hard.
Yeah, there are there are moments where you find yourself getting a little like grizzled by it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you have to be like, I don't know, I just try to like astral project to all the moments that I was so excited and desperate to have.
I'll sit third row. I don't care.
I mean, I really don't care where I sit.
That's not a trigger for you, or do you have any little triggers in like, people are late or like
getting an interview canceled on that sucks.
Getting an interview canceled can suck. Sometimes you're like, thank God.
Oh yeah, I wasn't prepared.
But an interview that cancels sucks. I just think the thing that always kind of makes me feel like, having a bad day is when, I'm a classic like over scheduler. Like I'll be like, I'll go to every show. I want to meet every designer. Cause I also think it's part of the job. Like you can't just go to like the big brand shows and not meet the young designers. But it's like you're running around the city the whole day, getting the steps in, like, you know, eating weird little granola snacks that they give you backstage or whatever. And then it's just like something totally random goes wrong somewhere else. And it's like, oh no, we have a fire because like there was a typo in the newsletter, or, you know, like something totally unrelated. That can be the thing where you're just like
the straw that breaks the camel's back.
The straw that breaks the camel's back. And I'm always like, try to remind myself, like, just stay the course. And I also think, like, shout out to Tom. Tom is really good at never getting worked up.
Never getting ruffled.
Yeah, he's really cool. And he almost like thrives in mess in a way that's very tactical.
Hence the turtlenecks.
Yeah. And so, you know, it's like, you've got to be able to like pull yourself out of it.
Right.
And not just stay in fashion mode 24/7. I mean, I just think the thing so even though this is my job and it's my life and I love doing it and I love like all my friends that do it and I love going to Fashion Week, you have to have you have to have a rich life outside of this. You know, like 100%. I don't think my seat at the like Tom Brown show defines me.
There's some people that it does though. That's satisfying.
It does in our eyes, Steff.
Or like where
B2.
You know,
I'm kidding.
Like I just think I'm so excited to be there and to see the show.
To be here.
I'm just a fan.
But like, again, even if you're in row like 90, that's a great place to be. I sat at this Dior show this season in row 5 or 6 or 7, but it's great because then you're kind of with like the fans and the clients.
Yeah,
and to me,
the real ones.
Yeah, that's
the bleacher creatures.
That's a great story. You know, it's like everything that.
Yeah.
If you're just like, I just need to get to the top and interview the creative director, you're missing out on all the other fun stuff that's happening in all the all like. Yeah.
You just zoom in on Instagram stories and no one can tell.
Exactly.
You're like 9x.
Yeah. Avoiding heads.
Yeah.
You know what it is for me? It's the thing that'll just really piss me off no matter what. Celebrities showing up late.
Oh.
So selfish. To shows specifically where it's like, hey, we all have to like fucking sit around and wait for you. You knew starting at 2. Why are you showing up at 2:30?
We're getting glammed up.
I will say the thing that like really can send me is if I'm dehydrated. That's when like hydration is key.
Absolutely.
Like, and I firmly believe that fashion shows, this is like my platform.
Let's go.
Should serve you water.
Yep.
And have accessible bathrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you're running,
that's your platform.
Yeah, that's like the number one thing I believe. You could have the worst fashion show of all time, but if you're giving people like a little food, a little beverage, a little hang.
That's the thing now, right? Like the Row was handing out food.
Yeah, the Row is a great example. Like, I mean, the show is fab, but then afterwards you get a little snack.
No phones.
No phones. Which makes it
take my phone, give me a slider all day.
Yeah, or like a cool tea or something. They have food that I don't even know about. You know, it's like it's artisanal.
The Olsons have invented new food.
Yeah, like I was like, "What is this?" They're like, "Just take it."
It's a row nut.
Yeah,
but I'm.
Whoa,
got him. That's why he's the boss.
Let's be for real for a second. Social media. What's up with that? No, I'm kidding. But. Real talk.
Spit out my water.
As you're like assigning stories, as you're editing stuff, there is always, I'm sure in the back of your mind, like how does this get formatted or play or messaged on socials? Which, whether that's part of the problem or not of just fashion media in general, if social media was completely out of the equation, how do you think your job as an editor would be different?
How would I tell people about the articles?
Right. So it's about promotion.
I'd be like standing on a street corner being like,
you'd be on this podcast.
Cool story about Comme des Garçons.
Extra.
I'd be dude with a sign.
Rei Kawakubo gives us 5 sentences.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's important as a editor, as a journalist, whatever you want to call it, to like tell a story in an engaging way. Period. If it's 10,000 words or if it's 10 words, it has to be interesting to somebody. And so like, you know, throughout my career, there's been this real friction between social and editorial, or video, social, and editorial. Like they're 3 different things. And, you know, they sometimes companies are structured to have like 3 totally independent teams. And I'm like, that's crazy. That just doesn't make any, like when I go home, I watch a TikTok, I read a tweet, and I write an email or like send a newsletter. So like why are we siloing people into these buckets that are so unrealistic about how people consume content? Like, yes, you need experts, but I think to work in this industry, you have to have a fluency across the board.
Like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. And it's like,
which goes against what Noah Johnson tweeted, like, I don't want a multi-hyphenate. I want an expert. It's like, relax.
An assassin.
Relax.
This happens a lot as you get stuck on the carabiner and then you can't sit up straight. No, I agree with what I interpreted that tweet as saying, which is like, I don't think there's room for generalists that much anymore. Like, you have to have a vibe, or you have to have like, I'm not a music expert. I'm not a film expert. That's why we have someone who writes about film, but it's like, you should be able to tell your story across different channels, or to explain to people who are experts how it could work. Like, I just don't think there's I just don't think it's interesting to me to like write this Rick Owens profile, turn it in, and walk away. Like, I'm like, it matters to me how it's posted on Instagram. It matters to me, like, the videos from the dinner at his house. It matters to me because I care about this story so much. And so I should be able to collab with our social team or our video team or whoever to be like, okay, this is what I was thinking. This is the quote that would be good as a quote card. This is what I think is the craziest picture. And also, like, it sharpens your eye for stories.
When you're assigning and identifying stories, are you already thinking about how it plays on socials, like in the inception of the story, or does that come later?
No, I think it has to be there at the start. And in an interesting way, like, working at Essence, the social was the first thing that we like remodeled, and it was like the tail wagging the dog. Like, everything, by starting with social and creating a new vibe there, that can be the trickle down across a brand that's like, it can change the dynamic. And in a weird way, like, not that our magazine looks like an Instagram, because it doesn't, but like, we have all these cover lines that I think is very inspired by the way you like look at a feed and information like crashes up against each other. Is like, your mind is just wired to see all of these juxtapositions. And so, it makes it interesting graphically to keep that language.
So it's not so social is not a necessary evil in your eyes. It's just.
No, I think it should be fun. Also, like, the best social media accounts are run by people, like individual people. And I think like brand accounts can be so like.
Silence brand.
Yeah.
Type shit.
Yeah.
Yo, Doritos here. I'm crashing out. Yeah.
It's Burger King. What up, Wendy? Want to fuck? Like shit like that is fucking weird, dude.
Yeah. Is Wendy's chopped? What's your TikTok For You page look like?
Ooh.
I spent months training it to just be videos of dogs.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. And then it's like, I'll go on the ID TikTok to look at fashion or like cool stuff.
Okay.
And also, like, everyone's sending me the like relevant fashion TikToks and whatever.
Fashion Twitter is a thing. Fashion X is high fashion. Is high fashion TikTok a thing?
Definitely.
Yet? Really?
Definitely. I feel like
to the same extent of like authority that Twitter has.
Yes, more. I think.
Wow,
it's well researched and not just like
well researched, and it's also like
menswear bubble, dude.
That does not exist in menswear.
You're just realizing this now.
Because the menswear bubble is like no research is just like, yo, buy this shit, bro. It's sick.
Well,
which is so annoying and frustrating.
Well, it's like, yo, look at this lookbook. It's
the thing that's so interesting, like maybe between menswear and women's wear customers.
Let's go there.
There's this sensibly like menswear shop, like the menswear community that you guys are a part of is really about buying and acquiring. Whereas I do think like a lot of the women's wear fans are about like standum,
appreciation,
and I include myself in that. Like, there are brands that I love where I don't want to wear the clothes, but I'm like, I want to be an expert. I want to know about it, but like, I'm not necessarily buying Yoji, even though I think he's like one of the greatest designers ever.
You and Noah Johnson.
It could work for me. It's like very in line with how I dress. It's just weird that I don't, honestly.
Do you not own any Yoji?
But it's also like I went to my first Armani show this season, which is truly the GOAT.
Mm-hmm. No one's arguing that.
He answered some DMs in the new issue of IG.
Ooh, gotta pick it up.
So great.
Giorgio knows how to.
Yeah.
Well, I think someone showed them to him.
They printed out the DMs.
I don't know that.
They faxed it to him.
My theory: Giorgio Armani not alive.
Yeah.
No, I saw him.
It is a Weekend at Bernie situation.
I saw him with my own eyes.
Yeah, was it thinking about
like a marionette?
Did you see the fishing lines that were?
He honestly looked great. I was like,
he does look good as fuck.
He looks better than I look.
He's just tan.
Yeah,
it's Italian.
Italian. He's living that life.
Yeah.
But like, I was like blown away by the Armani show. I was like, I need to change my whole life and be wearing like little bejeweled pants underneath like beige tunics or whatever. Yeah. But then it's like, I'm never going to dress like that. But I have a level of sort of respect for it. But I feel like in menswear, it's like, if you like it, you have to put it on.
It's consumption versus just, I think, like a general enthusiasm or appreciation. And then the learning that comes with the stand-up, I think is how you phrase it, right? So
Marissa Meltzer put it really well, I think, that I've repeated often, is that a lot of guys, not all guys, but a lot of guys that maybe recently discovered that fashion is an interest or a hobby of theirs, they treat it like sports, right? And then I was talking with my boy Nathan Pemberton. He's like, the personal style development period has shrunk in the age of Instagram and the internet, where it's like, you don't have to experiment and fuck up. You just like, this, I want that, buy now,
gimme,
add to cart. So a lot of it is just like acquisition.
Yeah.
Not self-expression per se.
Yeah. And maybe like when we were coming up, it was harder to get stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So you had to be more of like a fan than a consumer. One, things are still crazy expensive, but two, like the resale market and vintage stores and everything like wasn't then what it is now.
Yeah.
There's less of a barrier of entry, right? Like,
So, okay. So social media, you mentioned how you that's what you use to like sell what you guys are doing, right?
Yeah. It's also its own
whether it is
channel.
Like whether it's a big story or a small story. What, in your opinion, is the most exciting thing happening in fashion right now that you don't think enough people are paying enough attention to?
Oh, what a good question.
Is it that Giorgio Armani is actually dead?
I think fashion right now, and rightfully so, is very consumed with this kind of like creative director shuffle that is happening. Everybody's going to a different
the coaching carousel.
Brand. Yeah, it's like every day they're like,
it's so high school.
It's the new this, which is like
everyone loves hot goss.
It's hot goss. It reflects like something about the industry that's like it's a little unstable. We're in a recession. Everyone's trying to figure out how to make money when maybe there's like, the like gold rush is over. And so I think like being obsessed with it is very valid, but I think in a way like it's all happening over here. And over here, like so many thriving independent brands who have cool ideas about getting dressed or new styles that I'm like, we're all talking so much about like Loewe or whatever, like whatever brand is changing creative directors on this certain day. And it consumes so much coverage. I'm like, but what about all of these people who have built these like amazing businesses, who have devoted customers, and who have like something really to say aesthetically? Like, I just don't want the clothes to be the afterthought to sort of like the castle politics.
Right. Is the fact though that it's just like, hey, these guys are doing great things consistently. You haven't like there's no new story there per se.
I mean,
which is not a bad thing.
Probably, but I also think it's like there's always a story. Really? You know what I mean? Yeah, I think you just have to go and like
stories. There's no story.
Pick a little bit, pick some of the layers off the onion. You know what I mean? Like,
so are we missing the forest for the trees then? Kind of, if we're so focused on the shuffle,
I think
that we're missing personal style and a little bit.
Like, so many of the brands that we like, that like menswear people like, that millennial women like, just like don't get that much mainstream fashion coverage.
Shout out Reformation for real.
Yeah, Brandy Melville's.
Fly me out to Coachella Reformation for that $500 gift card you offered.
But like I always think about how like
What? You got that email?
Wait.
For a $500 gift card?
I could have gone to Coachella for a $500 gift card for Reformation. Are you kidding me?
But I think you had to post like 6 reels or something.
Easy, dude. That pays for itself.
Like, love this Lady Gaga set.
But 2 years ago, there's the Reformation House disaster where like all these influencers got stranded in the desert or some shit, and they all like got I don't know.
Oh, when it was like the flood or whatever, or like
they're all stranded at Neon Carnival.
That was Burning Man.
No. They all got stranded. They all got the flood was at Burning Man. They all got stranded at Neon Carnival because they didn't understand like the shittiness of once again.
I wish they all could die.
Rude.
I kid.
But yeah, there's just like a lot of cool stuff happening in fashion and a lot of cool designers. And it's like you could walk through Dover Street Market, Paris, and discover like 100 cool things that nobody is writing about except for like our favorite newsletters or like really independent magazines because it's like, there's just a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And these mega brands dominate a lot of the conversation. And it's like, I'm not trying to shit on the huge brands because like me at the Prada show is like me at Disneyland. Like I'm having the time of my life. I'm like picking up I'm like, what does the room smell like? What are they serving in the after show? How's Mutra's hair? What jewelry does she have on? Like,
where are the bathrooms?
Yeah. Where there's always a bathroom. They have Bar Luce. You get water before the show. You get a little sandwich. I know you go downstairs. The bathroom is over there.
Is that because they have their own venue?
I'm like, I know.
A little panino.
Yeah, you get the little caprese panino.
Ooh. Is that because it's their own venue?
Yeah.
Like versus like, I'm renting out a fucking, a palazzo that's however old. And
but
there is no plumbing here.
Yeah. Here's a pro tip for all of like the people who are trying to get into fashion. Show up to the show a little early, not too early because then it's suspicious. Be like,
got nothing better to do.
I really have to go to the bathroom. Please, can I go to the bathroom? Because they'll take you there, then they'll leave you there. And then half of the time, the bathroom is in the backstage. So you do a little chatting,
scheming, always scheming,
doing a little scheme. Always, people are always like, "You have to go to the bathroom a lot." And I'm like,
what models are maybe getting a little sniffy in the handicap stall?
It's not really that. It's more just like you can see. Like the thing that I'm always kind of like surprised by at a fashion show is you sit in your seat, you watch the runway show go by, you run backstage, you're smushed into this scrum of all the other reporters. Like your arm is numb because you're holding your recorder like this for 20 minutes.
Zooming.
And then you've never touched a garment.
Right.
And like it really fucked with me during COVID when we would do all these Zoom reviews and if the designers like weren't even with the clothes, like they didn't have a rail of clothes in the room, they'd just be showing you like share screen a picture. And I'd be like, listen, I'm no expert, but like I know Photoshop exists. And obviously like the whole industry is like a little bit smoke and mirrors. Like you're accustomed to maybe the sample not being the same production as what goes into stores. But I was just like, this is crazy to review clothes from a picture.
Yeah.
And not even like, okay, they have a model, someone's putting it on, and you're kind of like leaning into the screen to be like, okay, no, really nice eyelet you've got there. So yeah, I think like if you really want to get the scoop, you have to try to sneak backstage, touch the clothes. And then I always ask the models, I'm like, do you like your outfit? Are you comfortable? How are the shoes? Are you walking okay?
Are they feeding you?
Yeah, like what was the snack before? How long have you been here?
Blink twice if you're being held hostage.
How is your hair? Like, you just need to kind of like understand the scene. And I guess like some brands really work hard to like keep everybody in their lane, which I totally respect. Like fashion people are always trying to break into fashion shows. But like I just want to know all the little details. I want all the
devil is in them.
This is why
for a reason.
This is why you are at where you're at.
Yeah, true. This is why you're good at your job.
Can we ask you if there's anything happening in menswear that's exciting you specifically? I
actually wanted to ask you something about menswear, which is everybody has a barn jacket. And what's that about?
Workwear cosplay.
Yeah,
but
it's an extension of
the workwear cosplay, sort of like the peak, like
right
Williamsburg Carhartt man. Like, is he still around?
No, he moved upstate. Right now, he moved to Greenpoint. Right now, the trend in menswear is workwear items and women's wear too. But workwear items made out of like very luxurious materials.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, that Orly jacket.
It was the Orly jacket.
It's the Orly jacket.
So nice though.
Yeah. It's not even the right time to wear it because it's 40 degrees out. So your boy had to layer up.
It's a beautiful.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
service.
Barn coats, I don't know. I think it's just like
Because Noah John said chore coats were dead, so now we're on barn
True.
coats.
Yeah.
Everybody
It's his
moved
fault.
on.
thanks, Noah.
No, it's just I think it's an extension of that workwear,
Yeah.
which is all coming from like Normcore had that great moment, and
It's a bit like it's a bit gorpy where it's like outdoorsy, but not like technical.
Not full gorp. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
you're not going to wear it in a shower for a TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys think tailoring, like what's happening in tailoring? You had that from
so
husbands on.
Oh, Sean Nicolas.
I mean, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of great, whether it's husbands or Simone Amal. Like, there's a lot of cool into like defining a new look and era for tailoring. That's not
This isn't your grandfather's
It's not
suit.
Savile Row. It's not all the the Neapolitan tailors and brands. Yeah, it's not your dad's suit, right?
Totally.
That's exciting
I
and
guess,
fun.
To go back to
And
my
sexy.
point from before, it's like, nobody would have found out about husbands if like you and Sam Hine weren't really putting them on.
That's not true.
I don't know. I mean, that's certainly
You said
how I found out about it.
Well, yeah, but
Thanks.
are you?
But I'm a fashion person who's like
Right.
at Paris.
Well, they're not
Fashion Week.
it's not. They're not
But
fashion.
it's a clothing brand.
Sure.
It's a tailoring brand.
Mhm.
And I think, there's just lots of other things that you can discover if you're not at Fashion Week. Or
Oh,
you're
for
not
sure.
at a fashion show. And
Yeah.
that's like part of this industry
I mean,
that I'm so curious by.
half the people at Paris Fashion Week are not.
Yeah.
More than half are not going to shows, and that is.
Mm.
We do appreciate
Mhm.
that the other Fashion Week, as
Yes.
Noah coined it, does exist where it's like showrooms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like sales appointments and sales guys and PR guys that are like willing to actually like open up their doors to non-buyers, right? It's not just B2B anymore.
Right.
Mhm.
But it is
like-
where the business is getting done, which is also
Yeah.
exciting because it's real tangible shit.
Yeah, it's cool. You can
It's not
try
pomp
it
and
on.
circumstance,
Like 2 weeks ago, I went to the 6397, shout out my pants,
Mhm.
showroom, and I ran into Rachel and Amelia. We all went independently. We're just trying on clothes.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. That looks great. Oh my God, this jacket. And it's like fashion is also about like community and commonality. And it's like those things to me are kind of more fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Going to a big fashion show where there's like the drama, I love it a little
It's a
bit.
spectacle, but it's
Yeah.
also a
Yeah.
spectacle that lasts 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I do like the VICs are coming. You're waiting for the celebrity. The
Right.
music is weird.
Oh,
like,
the VICs are probably the most interesting part of fashion right now because they're all
Love.
fucking crazy weirdos.
the VICs.
We were at the Louis show last summer and the
Incredible.
VICs were like, those are the stands.
Yeah.
There's a line for the VICs for their own step and
Yeah, yeah,
repeat,
yeah.
and that's like
so cool.
because it's the best outfits.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it's the most interesting outfits. Like
they're wearing Louis.
You can't look away.
They're wearing Louis in a way that the influencers and celebrity ambassadors are not wearing
No,
Louis.
not how the brand is dressing
yeah,
them.
if you're the VIC, you get to style it yourself, and that's cool.
Two different shoes. That's what I learned to show that you have two pairs
Wait,
of
someone was
LV
wearing
AF1s.
Two
Yes,
different shoes.
yes.
So cool.
Someone, some people,
That's so
One
cool.
of
because
my
then you
favorite-
can show you have more than one pair.
One of my favorite fashion
I'm
stories.
like, what do you got? Are you guys wearing different
No.
shoes? No.
No,
One
Poor.
one of my.
yeah, broke ass.
She got 4 skirts on.
Yeah.
One of my favorite fashion stories of the last like 5 years, I was in the New Yorker where I don't know the writer, but they went to the Dolce and Gabbana like couture
Mhm.
VIC destination thing,
Mhm.
which it's all just like oligarchs and their
So
significant
sick.
others, and it's just like the most hedonistic bacchanal list, orgiastic, gaudy,
Orgiastic.
like it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And it is just like, this is where the money is.
Yeah.
Forget like, brand cachet and social media. It's like, it is the wife of a man that now runs like Gazprom in Russia.
War
who
criminal.
murdered who knows how many fucking, ethnic minorities in the gulags that is now like splashing out $1 million and just spending a week in Capri with all her contemporaries. And this is what they do. This is the world that like we don't know about or see because like it's just over there or up there.
War criminal Wags, the most interesting
Yeah,
customer.
for real.
Like true, but that's like
Wag core.
Yeah, honestly.
War criminal core.
I want to go. Throwing Fits would love to go to any of these war
Stefano.
criminal wife and girlfriend VIC trips.
Stefano, I know I'm Asian, but bang my line. They're the ones that, right?
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. I will say, like, a destination show is
Do you get
the
to go to those?
most immersive brand
Little
experience. Like, you're
Jacques
very,
Mou
like,
ticket?
ooh. Yeah.
What was the last destination show you went to?
Great question. I went to the Balenciaga show in LA, which isn't.
Oh, God.
Going to LA is less
the Erewhon show.
Yeah. Which for me is like, that's like, I'm on a cultural safari because I never go to LA and I don't blend in there.
Morocco with Saint Laurent sounds slightly more
better.
sick.
I went to
if only you had a newsletter.
Japan with Dior Men. That was pretty sick.
With
fire.
Soriyama, that show? Yeah.
Sick.
That was amazing. I went to Shanghai with Prada and Chloe. You just like, you're really in it. Like there's no other, you're on like the brand agenda. You're doing the thing. You're seeing the people.
You're being held captive in a luxurious way.
I've gone to a lot of the Jacques Mousse destination shows as well, which are really like the vibe, the sightseeing, the whole experience, the set,
pristine vibes.
It's a real, sometimes you're like, I feel like I'm in a movie. But that, interestingly, is
that the point? So that you view it that way?
The point is that you feel like you're in a movie.
Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I like to see where there's a little crack. I'm like, is it all working?
You're scheming for cracks. She's scheming for crack in Shanghai.
She's fiending for crack.
There's always like a little something, that little behind the scenes.
Oh, for sure. Like the paint, little, Potemkin Village vibes.
How'd they get everyone here,
Money.
They paid for them.
Yeah.
I know.
Money, honey.
What?
No, I'm just like,
I mean, you didn't pay for your own travel and accommodation.
No.
Exactly.
I know, but it's like a behemoth. It's better. It just gives you a different view of what the brand wants to say than you could ever get at Fashion Week because they have to be on the calendar with everybody else.
So when they are in complete control of the world building.
Yeah.
That's why they do it.
Yeah, no, that's totally why they do it.
They flew economy.
Poor.
Is that the future? All these like specific, I feel like I'm seeing it a lot more.
Not in the recession, like not in the world that we're about to live in or we
luxury survives,
live in now. But I do think it became, when you can control the whole narrative, like brands love it.
Yeah.
Who do you think does that the best?
I haven't been on one of these, but I would say Brunello.
Oh, shout out our friends at Brunello.
Yeah. Like Sam.
Shout out Coochie Gang.
Sam Hine, when I wanted, was to like regaling me with the stories, and I was like, "This is nicer than anything I've ever seen."
Town?
Yeah, it was to the town.
Solomeo.
I think it was for his birthday.
What? Brunello's birthday?
Yeah, he had a birthday, but it wasn't even a fashion show. It was just like
Sam's 30th in Solomeo.
It was Brunello, but it's just like the level of. I mean, he literally owns the town.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he's the mayor.
It's a company town.
Yeah.
There's a soccer team. There's a
the olive oil.
Yeah. There's
like the pasta. And
even just like the dinner, like we went when we were at Pitti, like their private dinner, which is like again off campus. It's not like some bullshit, apps and champagne in the fortress. It's like it's La Dolce Vita. It's a fucking movie, dude.
It's great
pasta.
Shout out fucking Coochie, dude. We love Coochie on this
Coochie Gang.
Coochie Gang.
So when you're traipsing around the world, just flanoring your way as a
lugging my overweight suitcase between
skirts
as a fashion gadabout with the joie de vivre you bring while fiending for the crack. Who's the most fun fashion homie to party with? Who are you hitting up for a good time? Not like that.
That's so hard to answer. The most fun fashion homie?
Yeah. Not just your best homie, but like.
No, I know.
Yeah, there's maybe someone just you need in a small doses, but they're fun.
Maybe you bump into them.
I like the GQ parties.
Okay.
I'll say
wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not.
Wait, you like the GQ parties, but
the ones at Men's Fashion Week. It's like everybody goes. Like I'd like to be at a party where everybody's there and it's crowded and it's kind of chaotic and like.
Yeah, it must be nice.
But then you can
not
also
everybody goes.
Irish.
or everyone but
everyone
two podcasters.
but my two best friends on the only podcast that matters.
Yo, what's up with the ID parties? Where are invites at?
Yeah, honestly, we were complaining about this.
One of us was complaining
really
about
had
this.
One in New
the
York
fact that like we are seeing Robbie at Rafts and we didn't even get invited, and you, come on, what the fuck?
I'm sorry.
It's all.
You want some artichokes?
I got you t-shirts.
Thank you. So and that was an awesome gift, and I will be wearing that to look cool. But like, who's the PR company?
It was just a very small dinner. Like,
don't give me that.
All right,
Rafts is small.
I didn't even get to bring my fiance. So
no,
because he's on a podcast.
No plus ones because you want people to get fucked up and party.
Yeah. Well, okay. Next party in New York, you guys are there.
Thank you. But who is the most fun fashion homie to party with? It will be us when we do eventually get to hang out.
Yeah. I don't know. I do really like hang out with Sam because Sam goes to everything, so you can kind of just go
right,
like
be his plus one.
Yeah, be his plus one. Ride his coattails a little bit.
His
to all
husband's
the fun,
coattails.
Yeah, to all the little fun parties, and it's like also like when I started doing like the circuit, I was working at Vogue and I was doing so many reviews every day that I never went to a fashion party. Like I would get home from the last show, sit in my hotel room and write for 3 to 6 hours.
That's
so like
incredible.
Not fun.
I mean, it was. I thought it was fun,
a different
but
kind of fun.
I never really was out and about, so I missed like what probably were my best partying years.
Oh,
so now
your prime.
my prime. So now
You're
I
sitting
like
on
to
the
do
bench
just a
like
little
Jordan Love.
bopping around to a little bit of everything and be like in bed by midnight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
little sampler
Yeah,
platter.
just
that's a mature way to party.
the poo-poo
Yeah.
platter.
Yeah.
One drink at each.
yeah,
function.
one drink at each, and then you're done. And
You hit 12 functions.
Yeah, you're
You know?
great.
and you
a baker's-
stumble home.
A baker's dozen of functions.
Yeah.
And then you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Steph, what's your media diet? What do you like to read and consume and look at?
I'm very like my media diet, despite the fact that I'm still like TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Like I still like wake up is like New York Times, BBC, BOF, WWD. Like I need to like read all the trades
Mad
before I can.
acronyms.
Yeah.
Your
Bad
trade.
letters and
Your
shit.
trade.
Yeah. New York Magazine, I love. I check New York Magazine like the most, I think.
The cut.
The cut
The
specifically.
Cut, Vulture, I love like the whole thing. Cause I also just like, you know, the more, this is so
Has the
emo, but I'm like, the more you are traveling around the rest of the world, the more I miss New York. So sometimes when I'm
Wow.
abroad, I'll be like,
Wow.
what's going on
She said,
Curbed? You know?
Damn, dude.
What's on Eater's heat map?
Yeah. I'm like, what's everybody eating in New York? Like, what martini is good?
Are we still doing filthy?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's fucking stop with that, by the way. What's your martini order?
Filthy.
Filthy.
Really?
But
That's a
vodka.
Dirty little slutty.
Yeah,
filthy.
I thought, isn't vodka the standard for dirty? No?
I don't know. I don't know what people are doing. I love
That's
just
why we
like
need the cut.
filthy
And Vulture.
olives, like briny, like
Blue cheese olives?
mm,
Thank you.
Shrimp
No.
cocktail garnish.
No. I don't like too much. I still want it to
Bacon.
have this sort of like
Chicken wing.
foundational
Pub Bloody Mary.
martini
It should still be a
spirit.
beverage.
The point of ordering a martini is you want to feel a little chicer than you are.
Right.
So
True.
you can't be putting in
It's aspirational.
like a blue cheese or a shrimp
Right,
cocktail.
right.
That's for your Bloody Mary.
That's for poor people.
That's for like my
That's where you had too many martinis the night prior.
before.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
your drink shouldn't be a meal unless you're at Dallas BBQ having like
Oh,
Yeah.
With the fucking upside down
the
beer
upside
and the
down
frozen
Corona
pina colada
and a
Hell
bunch
yeah.
of
A
snacks. in it.
Corona Bulldog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that what
I
it's called?
love. I
Yeah,
had a birthday
nice.
party there.
Oh, the best.
There was no food. It was just everybody got these
on 23rd
bowls.
Street or the one on 2nd
The
Avenue that
one
shut
on
down?
Second
Did
Avenue
you-
that shut
the
down.
last-
Big RIP.
Did you learn that from Rachel? Because she had a birthday party there, which was the most recent time. This is many years ago, but
I
she's
didn't.
also, or she held something there. That was
I
like, why are
didn't,
we
but
doing
I'm
this?
just a fan of like a fun restaurant.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
yeah.
I love the Cheesecake Factory.
Who doesn't?
What's your order there?
Where to begin? Huge
Yeah,
menu.
I mean, it takes 40 minutes to
Yeah.
go through the menu. I like the cheesecake with the cookie dough in it. It's really good.
Hell yeah.
But you can
Fucking-
only eat it like once a year because like the
Cheeseburger-
sugar.
Yeah. To complement the cheeseburger egg rolls.
They're
There are
serving
avocado egg rolls, actually.
at the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah,
I
they don't
haven't
have
been
cheeseburger
in a
egg rolls.
I think they
while.
do.
No, they don't.
I think they do.
Not to make it about us,
Yeah.
but the Cheesecake Factory at the Riverside Square Mall moved. It used to be like in
Yeah.
the front of the mall and it was
Mhm.
like crazier and
Is there
more
one at-
fabulous. And now it's in the back of the mall and
Is
like
there
the
one
decor
in
is bad.
Palisades too? Do they have a Cheesecake Factory at Palisades?
I don't know.
Because they had like everything.
one in
there.
Yeah,
That was, like, the
they
biggest-
had Rainforest Cafe where I had a lot of birthdays.
Yes, they had the rain.
Yeah.
They had everything. I think the one. Yeah, maybe if there's a standalone one now in
We're
Paramus. Like
Googling
point.
this.
James knows his jersey.
Cheesecake Factory
Cheesecake
egg roll sampler.
Factory.
You got avocado egg rolls, Tex-Mex egg rolls, cheeseburger, spring
All right.
rolls, and
I'm-
chicken tikka.
Oh, see,
Did
technicality.
they not have
Fair.
like a tuna tartare one?
egg
I'm
roll.
sure I bet they have spicy tuna, like crispy
Yeah, like they're
rice.
definitely
Oh,
like a
crispy rice.
Yeah,
Okay,
Hell
so
yeah.
your palate was molded in New Jersey mall
the finest
culture.
restaurants.
Was your fashion sense kind of, was your gestation period, did that happen in Jersey mall culture?
Absolutely.
What type of mall rat were you? Goth?
Hot topic for sure.
Well, this is the thing was like at the time I was like, I'm not cool enough to be in Hot Topic. I love.
No. So you don't understand. Can I just say to your point, James, and to Steff's point, it's weird in New Jersey. Hot Topic, it's like the final boss.
Yeah,
because it's like some mean person who like will judge you based on the Banty, even though like we're all in the mall, dog.
Yeah.
You know?
Like
there's a Panda Express
the
next
kind
door.
of like
kiosk core.
mean kids who worked at the movie theater were Hot Topic.
Yes,
and they were a little intimidating to me.
She is so correct.
I really think like the whole Steff Yotka-ism was like forged in a limited too.
What is that?
Accessible. It's a girly store.
It was like a girly store. It was very like how Lizzie McGuire dressed, which is like how I dress today. But then I would still go to like Abercrombie, Hollister.
Did you think you ever crossed paths with my man over here?
I mean, we must have.
I'm sure.
I was in that Hollister all the time because one of my friend's older brothers worked in that Hollister.
And I mainly sold women's clothes. I was selling like leggings was my beat.
Kane?
Remember Kane?
No, I don't remember.
I think he's like way older than us.
Oh damn! Did he beat your ass?
No, honestly, everyone was cool. I got invited to a lot of parties.
Sick.
But yeah, malls were where it was at in the 90s and the aughts. And I think all of those.
Did you work in the mall?
I didn't work in the mall. Let's try that one again. I worked at a vintage store in Englewood.
Oh, that's cool. That's actually cool.
Really, that's much cooler.
But it had no foot traffic.
Was it like cool vintage or was it like mom
Goodwill?
Vintage?
Mom. It was like
Joann's
where
Fabrics.
like the fancy ladies of like Inglewood Cliffs, Alpine, Cresskill would kind of like send their old stuff.
Dumping ground.
Yeah, like
shit.
just
But
kind
was it
of
like
be like
designer?
There was lots of nice designer stuff in there. Like I remember there were Chanel bags, there were fur coats, but then there was also just like weird, whatever.
Did you ever come up on anything crazy? Did you even know like at the time that you were surrounded by greatness?
Yeah, I knew it was cool, but I also knew we were like never gonna sell any of it. And so like, and also like back then in the 2000s, like vintage wasn't really cool. Like everyone wanted to dress like Scoop.
Yeah.
Or like Juicy, or like there was another store.
You're wearing used clothing, bro.
Yeah, it was very uncool. And I
behavior.
had like, I would like buy little vintage slips or whatever from this vintage store, but I never wore them to school. I wore them on the weekend, or if we were coming to the city, I'd wear like my cute little outfit,
Scandal.
You'd be judged at school like in like being dusty or something.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I get it.
Totally.
You ever come up with any Comme des Garçons?
No. Not in New Jersey in like 2003.
I'm always curious with like Comme Queens. When did you fall in love with the brand?
A lot more recently than maybe people expect.
Okay.
I really was raised on a fashion diet of like Lizzie McGuire. I was like so into like Avril Lavigne.
Oh,
like I wore a tie. Yeah, I was wearing a tie to middle school.
Pleasers?
Yeah. With I had a knockoff, which I only realize now was like a knockoff of a Phoebe Philo Chloe t-shirt with a pineapple on it, but they were selling it at limited too. But like there was one on the runway in like 2004 that I would wear with the tie.
Wow, Willa Bennett stole your whole swag.
No, but this is the thing is like now I'm like, oh, I want to wear the tie again, but now I'm stealing her swag. So you can't, you have to wear it selectively.
Ties very, very in right now.
Very in. But like, so yeah, I was like that kind of stuff. Music videos you would see on MTV.
Sure.
They love Missy Elliott. The whole ethos of like a Missy Elliott music video where there's like different clicks and they all have different style.
Yeah.
And like she's so cool.
Alien Ant Farm.
I mean, I do love Blink-182.
Oh,
like,
my guys.
Like,
what was your screen name?
Unabashedly.
What was your screen name?
I never had like a cool screen name. My screen name was just like
none of them are cool.
No, but it wasn't like people have ones that are like X asterisk whatever. It was like Super Steff 22. Like it was just me.
What's
like,
the 22 for?
That's my birthday.
Oh, okay.
The 22nd.
February 2nd. Oh
no, July 22nd.
I was
a Leo.
What was yours?
Cancer.
Blind?
Are you
Cancer.
Leo?
I'm a Cancer.
Oh,
July 4th.
Happy birthday. Let's have a joint birthday party.
I'm down.
At Dallas BBQ.
Yes. Yeah.
Yours was blind, like
blind jaw 320.
Wow, dude.
I was I had actually back to skating. I rode blind.
You rode for blind?
I had a blind board.
Yeah.
I thought the little death guy was cool.
Yeah, that was sick.
Blind board was
sure.
like he just like cut a giant safe that landed on a guy in the street who was like bleeding out. That was my board. Hell yeah. Yeah, it was fucking sick. What was yours?
L182S because of Blink-182.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
What swag did you steal from Blink-182?
Just like
leather cuffs with spikes and shit.
That wasn't. See, that's
that.
not. That's not Blink. No, dude.
That's not Blink.
That's not.
They had that.
I had the studded. Here's the thing. Even though I was too scared to go into the Hot Topic, I had the studded belt in every color.
And you still kind of do.
Yeah, and I still kind of do. But also concurrent with all of this kind of like emo, alt, pop punk, MTV music video stuff that was happening in New Jersey at the time, as Lawrence can attest. I also was obsessed with fashion in a way that it was like really the era of like Marc by Marc Jacobs, Anna Sui, Betsy Johnson. Like I was a huge Betsy Johnson head. Like we would drive to the city to go to the sample sales. I would make my mom take
Anno
me.
Girls.
The Anna Sui store, like they had, it was also a great era for stuff. Like all of these stores, even though they were highbrow designer stores, had kind of these displays by the entrance where they'd have like keychains and hair clips and scrunchies and pens, which is like
tchotchkes,
bag charms. I mean, the bag charms you got going on
is from the Marc by Marc Jacobs store in 2004. That fire. Still has my keys on it.
Why did things get so exclusionary
then? And it was fun. And I will say that Marc by Marc Jacobs store on Bleecker Street, I would go like once a month at least. And I was there hanging out so much as a teenager, buying like all the little bits that one of the sales guys asked me on a date. And I just found his phone number is still saved in my phone.
Did you go on a date?
No, because it was like,
wait, he was
my
straight?
Parents. Yeah, I know. That's like the biggest plot twist.
Text him now. Yo. But
it was like my parents would walk down Bleecker Street and get like Italian pastries or whatever, and they would just leave me in the store because they're like, "What's she gonna do in here?"
Yeah.
Free baby.
And get hit on by the sales associate.
By some gay guy.
His number, literally.
Hit on by some in the closet gay guy.
What was his screen name?
And later that night, he was like, "What are you up to now?" I'm in Brooklyn, and I was like, "I'm in New Jersey, where I live."
Yo, I'm at this Vice party. Like,
it was really that.
I'm on North 4th Street.
Damn, he might have been. I mean, if he was in Brooklyn back then, he's fucking cool partier, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
it was Shane Smith.
It was Gavin McGinnis.
No.
You were almost a proud girl.
But so yeah, I was really into like, there were so many fashion brands that were kind of like accessible to teenagers or teenagers would be obsessed with. Teenagers started wanting to dress like adults, which was interesting because I remember like interviewing the costume designer for Mean Girls at one point, and you know, you can kind of see like a marked shift between, there was a time where like in the late 90s, the coolest person you could look like was a skateboarder or like someone related to a skateboarder or like a girl who would wear like a lot of clothes and patterns and like had a lot of crap. And then all of a sudden there was like an early 2000s clean girl aesthetic where it was like, you just want to look like a little grown up. That's what the costume designer of Mean Girls was saying, was like, we noticed that teenagers just want to look like little adults. Like they're wearing peep toe shoes. They have like the Louis Vuitton Murakami bag. Yeah. They have like the hair like blow dried in a way that, you know, it wasn't cool to be a kid anymore. And I think that still like really holds true today with like
the day the music died.
Yeah.
But like you still see it today. Like so many brands that are marketed to young people are like adult clothes. And then there's this whole like beauty boom with Sephora, and now it's all like overrun by teens who are using like anti-aging serums and they're like 12. And so, you know, I just think it's cool.
Get on Ozempic now, girls.
It's cool to be young. It's cool to be like a weird.
Right. You should embrace the, you're going to have your whole life. Like,
you have your whole life to be an adult.
Yeah,
I would murder 500 teenagers to be one again. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but like,
fucking crazy.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Being young and having no responsibilities is the best. Well, I know, but you think it sucks.
It's rose-colored lenses looking back. You don't know what you got till it's gone.
Right.
They paved paradise and they put up a fucking mall.
I know.
And we were hanging out in it.
Yeah. And we're having the best.
Well, while you were hanging out at Marc Jacobs and your parents were walking down Bleecker Street on their Sex and the City tour or whatever, I want to ask about your dad, right?
Oh, style icon.
What's his name?
Walt.
How did Walt, your father, become a fashion runway sensation who's giving Alex Consani a run for her money? And does he also speak with a black accent?
After my dad walked in this fashion show, I swear to God, like less than 12 hours later, he was walking around in the hotel and being like, I could be with Gigi. I could be with Paloma.
Hell, a man after my own heart, dude.
Hell
and I was like, okay.
Eyes bigger than his stomach.
Yeah. My dad.
He's got to walk.
He's got to walk. He's got an aura. You can say.
He walks very still. You could put a fucking...
He's aura farming.
Put a martini on his head and it wouldn't spill.
Yeah. My dad's always been stylish. And I remember being a kid and I was like obsessed with the Spice Girls. And he would always be like, the chicest outfit you can wear is a Gap button down and pants like Sharon Stone. And
Damn,
I was
he had
like
the vision.
5. Yeah. And he was like, this is chic. Explaining
Dress like
this,
an adult. Don't have fun.
Yeah. Explaining this to me wearing
Where's some
like
affordable fast fashion,
Steve
please?
Madden platforms and zebra pants.
Right.
You know?
Are you sure he wasn't just trying to like steer you towards like the more affordable options?
More modest.
No, I think he was just like,
Cover up, girl.
he was like very like chic classics, you know, like
Right.
my dad's always been like an Armani
Please.
guy,
Nice.
like very simple, elegant, the best, you know?
Yeah.
And so
Off-duty model dressing.
How many runways has he walked?
just the one. Well, he walked the Chipovalowena show at London Fashion Week last September.
Did he get flown into London for that?
Yeah, I mean, we went.
What?
We made
Oh.
it into a family
Right,
vacation.
okay,
I
cool.
wasn't like sponsor
Okay.
Walt's trip.
Right.
Because my parents had never been to England or France. So then they went to London. They went
perfect.
to this show. They took the Eurostar. They went to Paris. I was so worried that they were going to be in Paris and get like totally lost or mugged. Because you know how your parents are. They're just like, I was like, they don't know how to use Google Maps. Like,
Right.
what's going to happen to them? They had the best time.
Your
They
dad
were,
only
like,
knows one direction, down the runway.
Yeah.
literally.
Turn left, walk
Yeah,
right back.
Walk right back. So, you know, the Chipovalowena designers are my friends, and we had always like,
Oh, he's a nepo
he's a
parent.
nepo parent. He's
Wow.
a nepo dad.
Jesus, you hate to see it.
And so I think
Taking jobs from other nepo babies.
he met them, like we were FaceTiming over the holidays once. And, you know, I was like, say hi to my parents. They're like, oh, your dad, because he has white hair, white beard,
Great head of hair.
great head of hair.
What the hell?
And, you know, very into clothes.
What's his routine?
Once, I mean, just like a regular shampoo.
Oh, fuck.
I know.
Shut up, Walt.
He's born with it.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's Maybelline.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. What was I saying? So
You're FaceTiming the designers.
FaceTiming the designers. They were like, whoa, your dad has such like a vibe. And I will say, like,
So much aura.
I'm very lucky to have always had parents that were like supportive of my interests.
Mm.
You know, like they knew I was into fashion. My mom got a WWD subscription in like 2000.
Damn.
Shout out white
So that-
liberal parents.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. Like they would drive me to the city. My parents would let me like skip school if I wanted to go to the
Whoa,
Met. Like I'd be like,
bad
I want to
girl.
go see the Costume Institute. And they'd be like, we'll drive you. Or
Incredible.
like, I want to go to this store. You know, like they were very supportive. So as I actually like,
Skipping school.
yeah, no, seriously. Because
That's
they were
awesome.
like, you
They're
can't learn
investing in your
everything in a
future.
book, you know?
Nope.
You gotta.
Fuck books. Listen to podcasts.
I
I mean,
agree.
I also just want to caveat this with like, I was a real nerd.
Oh, okay.
So you're doing well in school. So they're like,
they were like, if you want to
field trip.
take one Friday a month and kind of like cut school
Whoa.
and go do something, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're allowed.
fire.
Hard Knock University.
They were investing in your future.
Yeah. And it paid off. So, but then as I got successful or more in the fashion industry, they like cared more
Nice.
about designers and brands and, you know, like read all my articles. My dad literally like prints them out.
That's
like
cute.
there's like a
That's really
binder of articles.
That's awesome.
So he was into the Chipovalowena brand as I got into it. They met him on a FaceTime. And it kind of became at first what I thought was a joke that they were like, your dad could be in the show. And I was like, that's so
No,
nice.
we're asking.
Like,
We're asking. Yeah.
that's so nice. Like you guys are being really sweet, but like
Is he
you don't
circumcised?
have to do that, you know?
Could he,
He
lose,
had a-
could he lose 20 pounds by
Yeah.
February?
He wore a custom look.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Does
it
he
was
still have the
no,
look?
because they kept it for
Okay.
like
Archival
PR
purposes.
and stuff.
What
But,
does homies at the fucking pub think of this?
I
You'd never been to England, dude.
Oh, true. Sorry.
yeah.
the
New
local-
Jersey doesn't have
At the
pubs.
Cheesecake Factory. At the diner. At the diner.
At the bar at Houlihan's.
What,
Yeah,
what does homies at the Houlihan's think?
I think everybody was kind of like, what?
Yo,
Like my
Walt, that's-
mom was
Walt,
like,
that's kinda gay.
they don't
Fucking
understand.
gay, dude.
They were like, they don't really get it.
thought you were married to a woman.
He did a great job. And now he's like addicted to
Clout.
to like runway modeling.
Does he have an agent? Does he have
No, he did
representation?
call me like a couple of months ago and was like, so what do you think, Elite or IMG? I was like, nobody reached out to you.
I need to
But,
book
like,
some gigs for the next
so
season.
he really wants to keep doing it.
Good for him.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
awesome.
I should be like more proactively helping him get gigs, but I also like it went right to his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was like immediate, like he did an interview with Vogue about it. He was all on Instagram.
Oh,
People
wow.
were
He's such a nepo parent.
yeah,
This is
like
incredible.
it was like and he had the best time and he loved it. And like, thank you forever, Emma and Laura, for having him in the show.
That's so fire.
He went to the after party.
Wow. Guest of honor, Walt, with the good hair.
The most fun fashion homie party with
is Walt.
Yeah, is my dad. Honestly, he loves to party. And so then when Liana was doing this sale, she was like, can your dad do it? And he did. And James was also there and he loved it.
I learned everything I know from Walt.
You and everyone else. Dude.
Yeah, apparently. No.
He's taking the industry by storm.
And now he got like a Chipova Luena fleece
Put him on the cover.
sort of like payment for the show.
You wink?
Oh, he got
and
trade?
He wears it. Yeah, he wears it all the time. And he's like, everyone in the neighborhood loves the fleece. And I'm just like, it's
Damn.
so sweet.
I wore this to pickleball.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Wearing this to the bar to watch the Giants game,
Hello.
Nice.
Crying into the fleece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful shit.
Jameis would like this. Speaking of continuing on with family, before you met the love of your life, your boyfriend, you're engaged to.
Fiance.
Did you date in the fashion world?
No.
Were you like church and state? I know this is gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, actively avoiding the cesspool.
Or were they just like, no, straight guys?
I just, wasn't really meeting dudes at the fashion function. You'll be surprised to hear in the early 2000s, there wasn't a lot of like eligible.
Straight guys hadn't discovered
Guys.
fashion.
Yeah. We hadn't been given our voice and representation in this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went to school in the city. So I just met a lot of other like weird dudes.
Right.
Like every guy's like going to the new school for creative writing. Or like
nightmare.
playing,
That's a
like their
nightmare.
band is playing at McKibben Lofts.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of that.
A lot of, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want an STI. But your fiance,
Yeah.
he's a butcher.
He is.
How much meat do you guys eat?
Well, here's the irony is I'm vegetarian.
What? Whoa! How does that? Dude, it's like Beauty and the Beast, dude. You would
Separate
never
interests,
think.
Does he not eat meat because he's like,
Yeah,
just
he would.
meet it
No,
out?
I think like a lot of people are like, isn't he so sad when you go on these long trips? And I'm like, I know for a fact he's having a steak every day.
Chefing
like
up.
the apartment is just filled
Yeah.
with meat product because it's like he
You
not
come back,
that-
there's a fucking film of grease on the walls.
It's a meat locker.
truly. He's like, I don't really care. Like I'm like, you cook whatever you want in our house. I'm not like no like thing in the fridge or whatever. But I just think he's very polite and also like all day
So you're
they're
marrying
like
him, polite guy.
Right.
butchering or whatever. And so I think he's also like sometimes he's like, I just want to have a salad because I've had like a pork chop every day
For lunch.
Well, they make like family meal,
Yeah,
sometimes if they have stuff they have to use, it's like
Right.
Not
You'd
all
be
the
like-
carrots at the butcher shop.
yeah. They have a restaurant and
right.
you could have a carrot if you want.
Yeah,
If you're a fucking
the
pussy.
other butchers will call you a pussy.
It's certainly
Like Walt's homies at the hooligans.
you come for the meat and you stay for the wine if you're me.
Ooh.
I just post up at the bar and I'm having a glass of wine.
Perfect.
that your
Which is nice.
that your poison of choice, vino. What grapes you fucking with right now?
I don't know.
Pinot Noir.
No, I don't remember. I had a really good bottle of wine, a glass of wine last night when I got home from my
Great intel stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, sorry. This is
Thanks
getting
for nothing. It's cool.
So
We're
boring.
almost wrapping up.
Red or white?
White. I like a sprightly, like
Racist.
fizzy
Yeah.
white.
Ooh, I had a white Lambrusco the other day.
Oh,
delicious.
That sounds fun.
That
yeah.
sounds really refreshing.
It's really
Yeah,
nice. I'd never had it before.
Yeah.
Steph, how much money did you make?
Like good.
Yeah,
Mm.
not great. Good.
I feel like
Are you
Not-
making?
not to get to like the emotional part of this, but like
Oh, here we go.
I'm like, like I made all my money myself. And that
Ooh.
rocks. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I came from a
Fuck
working
yeah.
class family. My job
Your dad
is
was a
my
famous
income.
model. Okay,
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
But like I'm proud when I started out and I made that $25
Right.
on that fashionista article. I
You
was
saw
like,
that check framed, like
I did it.
She cashed it.
You know, like I was like, I'm a millionaire.
Right.
And
Yep.
so,
You're self-made is what you're saying.
yeah, I'm happy. I could always make more money.
Right. But
And
you've
I
come a long
think-
way is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
And I think if
when's
I
your next performance review?
grinded harder, I could make more money. 'Cause
No,
all
you're
of-
grinding.
I'm grinding
enough.
hard, but I'm really learning.
40 days abroad.
It's about all the other little things, you know, you do a little spawn, you do a little campaign, you do a little,
What are your
you know.
perks like as the global fashion director,
Editorial
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 director
director.
at ID?
They're pretty
It's a
good.
mouthful. Yeah.
I have,
Free gear.
So a little bit of free gear. Mostly I want to be on all the personal order forms because I don't do a lot of shopping.
Same.
I like to just buy things directly from a designer.
At wholesale.
At wholesale or at a sample sale. Like I do a lot of sample sale shopping.
A lot of RealReal.
I feel
RealReal, a lot of RealReal. You got to be a smart shopper. But
I feel like our audience, or not even our, but like the fashion fans are like obsessed with like influencers who get free shit. But what they don't realize is that the personal order where you are shopping at wholesale for yourself,
you get to pick what you want.
Even better. That is
when
the
you've
dream.
really made it.
You want to know how you want to know how I got that barcode?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's the personal
order or elite personal orders, baby.
Do you get a lot of free shit that sucks sent to you?
Garbage. Not really.
Really? That's great. That's awesome.
I think like the longer you do this, the more everybody knows you, the more they're kind of, well, I don't know. I mean,
yeah, but then you get the Dear John email.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the biggest champagne problem is just mountains of crap that you're like, I don't.
There's definitely stuff that I'm like, it's not my like aesthetic or like, it's not for me. But I will say like my mom is like really, she's living it. But then she started really like, I bought these shoes on the RealReal. And, if your parents live in New Jersey, you just ship everything to New Jersey because there's no sales tax. So all my like guiltiest purchases are getting shipped to their house. And then I'm like, oh, do you want me to take you to brunch? Yeah. Like I'm such a good daughter. And
I just miss you so much.
Yeah. And by the way, can you bring the 5 boxes that came from the garage?
Yeah.
And now like my mom has like, all, and honestly stuff that I would have kept, but I'm also like, she raised me. So she's got like Fendi bags, Tom Ford bags, whatever. And these shoes came and she was like, well, they're my size.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
Mom's getting greedy.
Yeah. I was like influencer mom, model dad.
Yeah. There you go. Making the whole family in your image.
Besides making personal orders on clothing and your dog and your wine and your vegetables, what do you like to spend your money on?
Vacations.
Ooh, what was your last best vacation? Last great vacation?
In October, I went to Majorca for 2 weeks, which was amazing. Like kind of off season. So you're getting a discount on the Airbnb right on the cliff, like just in a tiny town that's like barely on the map.
You see Rafael Nadal?
No, but I kind of like, we were driving and I was like looking out, the Fiat window to be like, are any of these the Nadal compound,
Yeah.
But so nice. Like, I think if you work hard, you got to play hard. And when I go on vacation, I literally like, the phone is off.
What type of vacationer are you? Are you like read in the sun? Do you party? Do you adventure?
Like, I was sort of, my fiance and I are sort of too good at active vacationing. Like our last, we went to Iceland. We went camping in Iceland. We like traveled through Japan. We love a vacation where you do a lot of stuff. But then I was like, we're actually getting too old for that. We need to start going on these vacations where it's like relaxing. You rent a nice house, you stay in a nice hotel and you read in the sun. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to transition into.
What's your next vacation?
Oh, well, so planning a wedding, bad.
Oh, right.
But
don't get married.
But planning a honeymoon.
Yes. Ooh. That's the reward.
That's why you do it.
Yeah.
Where are we thinking?
We're debating between like Morocco, maybe. I've never been.
Cool.
Didn't go on that Saint Laurent trip.
Right.
Or another kind of like Japan, Asia tour. Like I've never been to Korea. I think it would be cool.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't get the Hermes invite?
Yeah.
No, actually we were at some point you're invited, but you're like, I need to stay home.
Right. No, totally.
Like even to go to Supreme for like 2 days and it's not that long of a flight. I was kind of like, ugh. Like this suitcase comes out, you just kind of like, it's get stressful. A little crusty and it's like, I miss my house. I miss my coffee shop. Like I miss just like walking around Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But so
we're the comforts of home.
The comforts of home. Yeah. So we're debating that, and I'm really excited to like.
What if you honeymoon in Brooklyn?
Yeah, honestly, it would be nice.
Rent out the Honora mansion.
Oh, not a bad idea.
That's
honestly.
a terrible idea.
Well, I'm just like ready.
We honeymoon in Sheepshead Bay.
Yeah, it's nice there. I think.
Sheepshead Bay or Brighton Beach, I guess.
Yeah, just like all of South Brooklyn. During the pandemic, there was really a moment where I was trying to convince Aaron, my fiance, I was like, we should move here because this is nice.
Right. Let's go to Sunnyside.
It's the New Jersey of Brooklyn, you know?
Yeah, totally.
It's near the Brooklyn Chinatown. Great food. How much have you spent on clothes in your lifetime? If you had
the limit does not exist.
I try to be like a smart shopper. I don't think I've spent 7 figures.
6.
Because I turn things around a lot.
In and out. One in, one out type deal. Yeah.
And yeah.
6 figs though, easy.
In my lifetime.
Yeah, of course.
The limited 2 adds up.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Steff, as a fashion star, as everyone's favorite global editorial director, as the homie, we would love to know, after spending over 2 hours together, just talking,
so fun,
shooting the shit,
talking Johns.
Last question for you, as an editor, we would love to know: do you have any constructive criticism or feedback you would like to give us?
Go off.
Yeah, put your editing hat on.
Yeah, direct us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you came really prepared with the questions. So like points for that.
Research.
Too prepared?
No, you've done good research. I think the thing that's always hard with a podcast is like you just want to keep yapping.
You never want it to end.
You never want it to end.
What do we not touch on that you want to talk about?
Yeah, what do we miss?
No, we hit a lot of good points.
Yeah, we hit
a lot of good points. I'm like, actually don't know about anything else.
We have all the questions so that there's never a lull. There's never a downer. Like, because we could be riffing and yapping, but like,
I want to hear more about Walt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can Walt come on the show? Is he available?
He would.
I don't know if he's like busy walking.
Like, so honored to meet you guys. I mean, he was like loved meeting James.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
He does it quick friends.
Yeah.
Quick friends.
Yeah.
I asked him, I was like, bro, any fucking tips from an experienced Nepo dad, famous model?
Yeah. Well, your walk was very unique.
Yes, it was.
The Balenciaga walk.
Yeah.
I believe.
Almost like, getting into the character.
It was troll-like.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah. In a positive way.
But no, I think you guys do a great job. I love listening to the pod.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Clip
I'm a big fan. I listened to Lori Hirschleifer.
Oh, the best.
Yesterday. Queen.
Absolute goat. Have you ever met her? Or have you been to her?
I've been to the store. I love the store because Aaron's from Long Island.
So much
by
fun.
there. So it was like, you come to my house, we're going to Garden State or Riverside Square. You go to Aaron's house, we're going to Hirschleifer's and Americana.
Clearly his profession of being a professional meat slinger has not rubbed off on you necessarily because you're a vegetarian. Have you and your fashion sense rubbed off on him?
Yeah, what does he wear?
I get him stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fun.
He's like,
dress up.
He's getting into it in a way, but I do think like we both have a healthy respect for each other's jobs. It's like, I don't need to get too in the weeds. You know, like I don't need to know like everything. And he's like, I don't need to know all this stuff, which I think is like important in a relationship is you kind of need to be able to like.
What brands does he like? Like if we were.
Well, I mean,
what's he into?
As a butcher, he's like head to toe Carhartt.
Oh, right. Because he actually is working.
Yeah. Yeah. He's working. Does
he have a barn coat made from?
No, but he needs like, I was like, that's why
kind of the orally joint.
It's too nice.
Yeah. Can't be cutting up meat in that.
Yeah.
Does he come home look like splattered in blood and does it kind of look sick? To be honest,
he will change at work before he comes home because it's
how respectful.
Yeah, but I think like him and all of his colleagues do because it's like the situation is bad. But he'll bring the dirty clothes home, and then our dog is kind of like,
blood treat.
Yeah,
blood core.
I'm like right to the laundromat.
Yeah,
with that.
That's a trend for you.
He's got some drees. He's into drees. He, someone we didn't talk about, but we love. Angelo Arusha from 4S Designs.
Oh, shout out Angelo.
We have a lot of 4S Designs. Nice. He was wearing it this morning. Sick. He loves like all of Kiko's like pants and shirts and jackets. I think like
good
Kiko,
taste.
Good style icon. Like he saw Kiko wearing a Charvet shirt. So then Aaron was like, I'll get a Charvet shirt,
Nice.
Hit eBay.
That's a good guy to look up to.
Totally.
Sure.
Kiko
in terms
has
of taking style cues.
Style. Yeah. I try to take style cues from Kiko, but it's like,
I've heard that Kiko listens to the pod.
I'm not that cool. Hey, Kiko.
Hey.
What's up?
Steff, where can the kids follow you? What would you like to plug? The floor is yours.
Follow I_D, ID Magazine. I'm at Steff Yotka. I'm hanging out in the city.
Both must follows.
Yeah.
Hanging out in the city, what do you like? You want people to approach you?
I don't know.
Okay. You said it.
No, I do think it's nice. Like, if you see me at a fashion thing, come say hi.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not like if I'm walking my dog. If you see me walking my dog, pretend I don't exist.
Yeah.
Because like,
leave her alone.
But I love to meet people who are into fashion and who want to get into it. And
you want to meet some fans.
Yeah. But people who are like,
issue on newsstands now. Would you prefer they sign up for the newsletter or follow on social media?
Both.
Oh, well, okay.
And issue on newsstands now.
2 thumbs.
Yeah.
True. All right, Steff. Thank you.
Thank you, Steff.
Once again for coming on to the only podcast that matters. This is so much fun. Couldn't think of a better way to spend a Friday afternoon.
Ideal.
Genuinely. Chef, hate to say it, but take us out.